Marketing Nights 4, and today we will talk about the e-commerce. So I will briefly introduce our event. So it is Digital Marketing Night. We have started the previous May in 2019, and we planned a lot of different offline events here in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Asia. But suddenly COVID happens and we moved to online. We started our first event, as I remember, in the end of the April, and now it is our second. Today we're going to speak about the digital marketing and e-commerce. We have great stars in today's lineup. One guy, his name is Alan Poole. He's from the Google. He's the agency development manager. Another great guy is Frankie. He's from Shopify, the Hong Kong lead. Also, we will listen to such interesting guys like Dima, Sidorin, and Nikita Prokhorov. They will talk about the reputation. My great friend Lars, he is from First Page, and he will talk about e-commerce and SEO. And I think we should go ahead and start from this moment. And we're starting with perfect guy from Easyship. He's head of business development in APAC, Eric Mui. So Eric, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, Eric, hello. How are you going? How is it going?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Where are you? Are you in Hong Kong right now?
Yes, I'm in Hong Kong right now.
Great. I won't take your time, so you can go further and start your perfect speech now. Okay?
No problem.
Thank you so much. There. Thank you.
So again, thanks for having me. My name is Eric from Easyship. I'm the head of business development in the APAC region. And very happy to be invited to speak in the Digital Marketing Night 4 event tonight. And today I'll be presenting on how technology is disrupting e-commerce logistics. So today's presentation, I'll break it down into 3 parts. So the first part, I will talk about the growth opportunities of cross-border e-commerce. And then I will move on to the complexity of logistics market. And lastly, I will go through on how technologies are impacting on distribution. So first, growth opportunities. So cross-border e-commerce is the future. So what I mean by that is that there is a very strong growth in cross-border sales currently. So there's a 20% growth year on year on cross-border e-commerce. So it's outgrowing domestic orders by a country mile. So global e-commerce are expected to reach to about 4.9 trillion by 2021. So again, as you would expect, it's a massive growth, and there's a lot of opportunities out there. So this is the state of e-commerce right now. So 1 of 4 e-commerce dollars will be generated from cross-border sales in 2021, which means that a lot of this revenue will be generating from orders from overseas. So this number will only go up. Brands are seeing a 15 to 17% boost in sales when they open up internationally. And also 20% of online cross-border transactions are actually over £150. So the amount that people would buy from overseas is a lot more than from domestic markets. So I think this would be a topic that's interesting to everyone at this current time. It's a difficult time, but then fortunately, e-commerce is actually booming. So it is actually a good thing for our industry. So as you may know, these are some basic statistics for Singapore. So these are actually the key categories of products where we are seeing a massive growth in. So for example, in health and beauty, there's a 43% growth month on month. Fashion, 40%. Electronics, 26%. And home decoration and appliances, 85%. So Obviously, a lot of people are in lockdown at the moment. So obviously, if they have nothing to do at home, they would, choose to go online and start shopping, right? And based on the lanes that these categories are selling to, you can see a lot of them are selling to the US, Australia, Canada, so places that are pretty far from Singapore. Moving on to other categories like jewelry, bags and luggages, toys, sports and leisure. So these are categories that are growing extremely fast. So jewelry is 29%, bags and luggages 26%, toys 37%, and sports and leisure is 4.4%. Again, it's the same trend for the top destinations. So majority of them do sell to the US, Canada, and also Australia. So, it brings me to the point where, you don't really need a physical presence in order to sell internationally. So you can, be in Singapore or Hong Kong or wherever you are, and you can still sell to anywhere at any time you want. So moving on to the second part, which is the distribution side. So just to give you a reference, these are actually 3 of the clients that we have on the platform at the moment. So in the client friends, they are selling on Shopify, and the market is the key market is Singapore and the US. And the courier that they're using at the moment is 10. So they're using 10 different shipping solutions to probably 260 or even more countries in the world. And the second one is Hypershop. So it's actually a crowdfunding campaign that is on Indiegogo, and majority of the orders are going to the US, North America, Europe, and Japan. They've used 11 couriers on our platform so far, and they've raised 25 million Hong Kong dollars with 40,000 backers. The third is Lovebox. Again, they're on Shopify, and the main market is the US. And they're using 7 couriers on our platform, and they're selling to 15 countries in the world. So again, these are the success stories of our clients. So as you can see, it is actually very important to set, not just to restrict themselves in a domestic market, but then to sell overseas as well. And actually, all of these companies, they're not actually located, especially with Hypershop and Lovebox, they're not located in Hong Kong or Singapore. So they're controlling everything remotely, and they could still ship the things out from Hong Kong without being, without having presence here. So the key to scale, I'm going to go through like 3 things that we think is important, right? The first thing is audience. So obviously, it might sound obvious, but having the right market fit is extremely important. So again, you need to sell your products in the right to the right community. So let's say if you're selling clothing or sneakers, etc., most likely you'll be on Instagram, or you'll be let's say if you have a sneaker shop, then you'll be targeting keywords on Google or Facebook, right? So it really depends on your audience. So if you're targeting young people, then obviously Instagram and the others are important. And let's say if you only have like a product that you want to launch, so let's say if it's a product that you've created from scratch, then I would recommend you to start with crowdfunding platforms like Indiegogo or Kickstarter or GoFundMe. This case, in this sense, you can get funding before you can actually see if there's like before you actually produce the product, and to see if there's actually demand for your product, right? So you're actually testing the water with these platforms. And lastly is the accessibility. So it would be nice if the website can be translated into local languages and probably have like a localized domain or something similar. And it would also be nice to have the currency in local currencies, or even in payment methods. So yeah. So this is this would give customers a little bit more confidence when they're buying on your website. So second is actually the efficiency. So scaling means integration. So it doesn't work if you are doing everything manually, right? Because it's extremely time consuming, and as you ramp up, then it will become unscalable. So that's why it's important to use tech platforms for different aspects, right? For example, in terms of payment, you can use PayPal, Stripe, etc., right? For e-commerce platforms, you can use Shopify, BigCommerce, Amazon, eBay, etc. For hosting your website, or if you're selling on marketplaces, right? And for accounting purposes, you can use Xero or JustWorks. So these apps can actually help you to automate a lot of your daily processes. Lastly, is distribution. So it is very important for you to, after you figure out how to sell your products, is to understand how to ship it out, right? So it will be helpful if you have a fulfillment center that can help you to store your items and also to pick and pack every single order. So a classic example to that is obviously FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. So if you're selling on Amazon, then it is an extra service that they would offer for the customers. Freight, which is a classic example of a global fulfillment network. So they actually have warehouses in different countries in the world: Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, the US, Europe, etc. And lastly, obviously, it's important to use shipping software that can help you to automate a lot of the repetitive tasks, right? So think about having to understand what documentation is needed that you need to provide for different countries or different products. It's already a headache, right? So I would recommend to use obviously Easyship and other technology platforms that can help you to automate these processes. So in terms of the complexity of the logistics market at the moment, we have basically defined the 3 pillars for scalable distribution. So basically, having a multi-courier network is very important. Reason why is because different couriers have their strength in different regions, right? For example, UPS might be good for shipping out of Hong Kong to the States, whereas UPS or DHL might be better for Europe. So it's something that you need to consider before you choosing which courier to go with, in order to leverage the best shipping solutions for each destinations. So it is also important to have like a smart automation and integrations, right? So it's also nice to have a system that can help you to automatically generate labels, and also for packages to go out automatically. This would save you a lot of time on these again repetitive tasks, so you can actually focus more on what is more important for you, which is the selling side on the commercial side, right? Lastly, global fulfillment is very important. So your packages can be closer to your customers in this aspect, and shipping costs is cheaper as well. So by having the fulfillment center closer to your customers, it would help you to increase customer satisfaction, because delivery lead time would be shorter, right? And even for them to arrange returns is going to be a lot easier in that sense. So let's say if you see like a very strong traction coming from North America, you can have probably a warehouse in Hong Kong that serves the rest of the world, and the US to a warehouse in the US just to cater the North American market. So now customers are extremely demanding, and it's only going to get it's going to they would only get more demanding than before. So what they are looking for right now is choices and visibility at checkout. So they would like to understand, or they would want choices between faster solutions or cheaper solutions, right? And they would also like to understand what sort of couriers are you using. So instead of like showing standard shipping, express shipping, they would like to see like UPS, DHL, Singapore Post, Hong Kong Post, etc. Right? They would want faster deliveries. I think this is a no-brainer. Everyone wants fast deliveries, but whether or not everyone can cater that is a different story, right? But then if you can, offer a faster delivery at the same cost than your competitor, it's a massive edge already. Third is the free or reduced shipping. So it is customers are hugely attracted to free shipping actually. So it is very important that you show free shipping or at least offer some discounts to your customers, or if you can't afford free shipping for everyone, you can at least set a threshold on how much they have to buy before they can actually qualify for free shipping. Lastly, is the real-time tracking. So all the customers would like to track where the shipments are after they've bought the item, right? So it's extremely important to provide tracking updates to your customers and choose courier options that can provide tracking updates. Just a quick stats here. So right now, 85% of consumers now want 1 to 3 days shipping. So this is, for example, let's say if you are looking to ship from Hong Kong to the States, then you'll need to use an express courier. So that's why it would make sense to you to have a global fulfillment services in that sense. And actually, 60% of customers are ready to pay extra for faster delivery. And right now, only 75% of the retailers are actually offering free express shipping. So that's why we believe it's very important for everyone to offer express shipping at this time. So again, these are the existing courier options available in the market at the moment. So you will have solutions that with full integrations with, let's say, a FedEx, DHL, TNT, or UPS. So the usual big guys. Where let's say if you have your own account with them, you can link it to the platform and start generating labels. But then you would still need to create your own account. Or if you can find an agent that can provide all these services to you, then the number of couriers available will be restricted too. So something for you to take note. For Express. It's very self-explanatory. Obviously, they're fast, right? What I mean by express is again, DHL, FedEx, UPS. But then usually for sellers that go with express services, you wouldn't open an account with each one of them because it's very costly. So normally you would have an account with UPS, and that will be it. You'll be using them to all destination countries in the world. But the problem with express couriers is that not all the countries are covered, right, by all of them. For example, if you want to ship from Hong Kong to somewhere in the middle of Africa, let's say, then maybe not all the shipping solutions can cater that, right? And they might not have a local footprint, so they might rely on a last mile delivery to process your shipment. So so it could be a different courier or agent that will be handling your package depending on the destination country. So lastly, is postal. Postal is basically the slowest form of shipping for B2C e-commerce. So again, self-explanatory is shipping via the post office. The downside is that speed-wise is slower than express, and it really relies on the services of the postal service provider in the destination as well, right? So there are as many postal services as countries in the world. So let's say if you were to ship from Hong Kong to the States, then it is down to USPS in the States to carry out the last mile delivery. So USPS is probably a poor example, but let's say if I want to ship to Brazil, obviously the service standard of Brazilian post might not be the best, right? But then sometimes if shipments get shipped with Hong Kong Post, then they would get blamed for, right? So, but sometimes it's actually out of their control that the service quality of the last mile delivery is not as good as Hong Kong Post per se. So again, something that you should take note of. And these are the 4 things that you should consider before selecting a courier service. So they are quality, service, transparency, and feasibility. So just to go deeper in each one of them, in terms of quality, you need to understand what are the delivery lead times, how many tracking updates are you going to get for a shipment, let's say from Hong Kong to Europe? What are the customer feedbacks or ratings on that courier? So these are important information for you to make decisions on which courier to use. Moving on to services, you need to understand if they provide tracking or not. Do they provide insurance? If not, can they provide, would you be able to purchase insurance on top of the shipping cost? Tax and duties, do they allow you to prepay tax and duties in advance, or is it always the receiver pays? Do they deliver to the door, or do they actually just leave it at the post office where the customer have to pick it up? Third, transparency. So you need to check in the rate card that the courier sent you if whether or not it contains the full shipping cost. If there's any surcharges, typically I think right now the COVID surcharge, fuel surcharge, remote area surcharges, these are very, very important to check before you actually commit to anything. Okay. Lastly, feasibility. So again, you need to understand if it is a hybrid solution. So what I mean by that is you need to understand if it is a partners solution. So if whether or not the delivery is carried out by 2 parties, or is it one single party that would be handling everything? Or, for example, postal services. This is a prime example that 2 companies that would work together for delivery. So this is the last part of the presentation, which is the end-to-end technology for e-commerce logistics. And obviously, it's time for me to talk about Easyship, right? So basically, what Easyship does is we are an all-in-one shipping platform that integrates between courier solutions and e-commerce platforms and marketplaces, right? So the goal for Easyship is to help you to save time through our integrations with different couriers and online platforms, e-commerce platforms, and save money through our partnerships with and special network of couriers. So what we can offer is basically a centralized dashboard where you can basically do everything. For example, you can get quotations, you can create shipments, you can manage orders from different stores. Let's say if you're selling on Shopify or eBay at the same time, you can manage all your orders under one single umbrella. You can check out your shipping analytics as well. So you'll be able to see which countries are you shipping to, where are my orders from, which courier companies am I using, etc. Right? And basically, you can also set up shipping rules to customize your preferences. Right? For example, if you know you're always using UPS for the US, then you can also set a rule to say for all shipments going to the US, you can always select UPS. And you can also manage your finances easily with the weekly statements that we provide on our platform. So all in all, is everything under one dashboard that can help you to automate your shipping processes. So at the moment, we have 250 shipping solutions available on the Easyship platform, and we ship to basically all countries in the world, apart from a few odd ones like North Korea, etc. And we can offer up to 70% discount on international shipments. Okay, as I explained before, the reason why we have so many shipping solutions available is because different couriers have their strength in different regions, right? So UPS might be good for the States, and DHL might be good for Europe. So it's something that they can compare between the delivery lead time, tracking quality, and the cost on a platform, and decide to commit, whichever solutions that they will be using for different countries. So again, as I was mentioning, in the dashboard, customers will be able to compare not the delivery lead time, tracking quality, reviews, and also the full landed costs. So what do I mean by that? Is that we are able to show the exact cost breakdown of a solution. For example, if there's any fuel surcharges, if there's any courier handling fee, if there's, let's say, if you want to prepay tax and duties in advance, there might be courier handling fees, right? So you'll be able to see all these under one single dashboard, and there will be a breakdown on every time when you create a shipment. So the charge that we show, the cost that we show on our platform, is the final cost, assuming the weight and dimensions is absolutely correct. Okay. So tax and duties, as I just touched upon briefly just now, we are able to offer DDP solutions, which stands for delivered duty paid. So let's say if you want to prepay tax and duties in advance, we actually have the tax rate of every single country mapped on our system. So that's why we are able to show you a guaranteed tax and duties amount. So let's say if you prepay tax and duties in advance on our platform, we guarantee you that there will be no extra tax and duties to be paid by your customer when they receive the item. Shipping documents. So I think this is probably one of the key struggles of new sellers, right? So depending on the shipping company that you use, you could need different shipping documents like commercial invoice, packing list, etc. Right? And let's say if you are shipping something that is slightly more difficult, like for example, if you're shipping something that contains a battery, liquid, or let's say something with powder, right? Then our platform can generate these declaration forms for you. It's also done based on the courier's requirements as well. So let's say if I want to ship a mobile phone with FedEx, right? Our platform will be automatically able to generate the commercial invoice, the battery declaration forms, the label. So all you gotta do is to print out what is provided by a platform. So straight, when you create a shipment on a platform, we'll provide a PDF to you, and you just need to print out whatever is provided, and you'll be fine. Now, integrations to Easyship. So Easyship actually has a full integration with all these platforms listed here. The main ones that you can see is Shopify, Shopify Plus, BigCommerce, Magento, WooCommerce, Amazon, eBay, etc. Right? And we'll be able to push the tracking back to each respective platform, so your customers will be informed once the item has been shipped out, and they will be able to track it online as well. And users will be able to synchronize orders from these platforms, either automatically, or if you decide to do it manually, you can just push one button, then all the new orders or unfulfilled orders will be pushed through to Easyship. And don't worry if you're not selling on all of these platforms or any of these platforms. And let's say if you have your own custom built website, we also have an open API as well. So this would be the Easyship flow, right? So let's say if you have a new order on your Shopify store, for example, you can easily import them into Easyship with one click of a button. Or if you decide to switch on the auto sync feature, it will be done automatically based on the time the time frame that you set on a platform. So it can be synced through in every 1 hour, or in every 24 hours, right? And once the order has been synced through to our platform, you'll be able to select from a bunch of different couriers. So as I said, there are over 350 shipping solutions available on our platform with like a very steep discount for international shipments. Then in that case, you can select the best shipping solutions for different countries. You can also download and print pre-filled labels and documentations from our platform once you have selected the courier options. So you can just print out whatever that's provided from a platform, and you can schedule pickups from the Easyship dashboard as well. And lastly, you can track everything under the Easyship account as well. So basically, you can do all that under one single place without going through the courier companies, going to trying to understand what's needed for in terms of documentations, and go to the courier's website to track your shipments. Right, you can basically do everything under one single dashboard. One of the features that we can do for platforms such as Shopify is that we can show our rates at checkout. So basically, what I mean by that is we are able to show 3 options that we pull from the Easyship platform. So usually, as I mentioned before, we are able to show so many shipping solutions per country, right? But then if you show so much options to your customers, it's going to confuse them. So what we do is that we would select 3 options. We select the fastest, cheapest, and best value for money option. So it's basically both ends of the spectrum in terms of price and something at in the middle, right? And we are also able to show the delivery lead time from each shipping solutions. And we are able to show the exact courier name as well. So if it is UPS, DHL, Hong Kong Post, etc., right? And we are able to show the tax and duties calculation and estimation. So because we have all the tax rate mapped on our system, and we also understand the cart value and also the item category, right? That's why our system can calculate the tax and duties estimation in the backend. And if you would like to, have this cost added to the shipping cost, you'll be able to do so as well. So we are able to display an all-inclusive price at checkout. So obviously this tool will help you to save time in the sense that you don't have to set up a shipping cost for every country in the world. And if you're selling obviously different products, the weight of your product is different as well, right? So it's going to be a massive headache for you to set up everything in the back end of your Shopify store. So the point to this tool is not just to save time, but to increase conversion as well, because we are offering more visibilities on the courier itself, right? I'm sure you have experience. You have had experience where FedEx call you and tell you they're delivering something and you forgot what you ordered, right? So I mean, this tool can potentially reduce this issue because they would understand whichever courier that will be coming to deliver, and they would understand exactly what item is coming on their way, right? And we are able to handle.
My friend, do you hear me?
Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
So we are pretty tight in the time, so I would like to ask you just a few minutes, and we have some questions for you, and we need to go ahead. Okay?
Thank you. Sure. No problem. Yeah. Okay. Lastly, is the tax and duties. So again, this will improve visibility on your customers as well. So in terms of the fulfillment side, Easyship has fulfillment services in all the places that's listed here. So pretty much well covered in Australia, Asia, North America, etc. So you can basically have your stock in different locations in the world, and your stock can be closer to your customers. And just to give you a reference, the storage fee is roughly starts from $35 USD per CBM per month, and pick and pack fee is around $1.2 USD per shipment. And these are the partners that we work with at the moment. And lastly, for this event, for this Digital Marketing Night 4 event, we are happy to offer you a 10% discount on our platform. So if you sign up on our platform right now, and if you can take note of this discount code, you will enjoy 10% discount for 30 days on our platform. Once again, thanks a lot for inviting Easyship onto today's event. And after everyone's presentation, there will be a workshop at 8:40. So if you want to join, you can fill in the form that's posted by the moderator. And just thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for a great speech. You have a lot of material, and we're pretty tight in the time. So other guys, I also want
Sorry about that.
to introduce their speeches. Yes, we had some questions during your speech, but you already answered about any special offer. You told that you have a special 10% discount for the subscribers who are listening to this webinar and watching. And the another question is, who are your most famous clients, your customers? Can you tell us more? Who works with you?
So yeah, so definitely. So in the US side, we have Victoria Beckham, that I think is pretty well known. We have a very in Europe, we have a up and coming company called Tropic Fuel, which is really famous now in terms of the outdoor community. It's basically a sneakers that you can run with or you can swim with. And yeah, in the Hong Kong side, we have a very big retail brand that we're working with in Bossini, which is pretty exciting. So these would be the big brands.
Great. Okay, good, thanks. So we need to go ahead. Thank you for your brilliant speech. It was very interesting and amazing. And I want to invite our next speaker. We need to be a little bit faster and we should move on. So I want to invite, thank you, Eric. Thank you so much for your speech here. Right. Thank you. So I want to invite here guys from Reputation House and Sidorin Lab. I want to invite Nikita Prokhorov. For now, he's the CEO and he wants to tell us more about the reputation management, as I understand. Nikita, are you here?
Hello, guys. Thank you for invitation. Okay, I will start. Dima, okay. Please advise, do you see my presentation? Do you hear me?
Yeah. Here we hear you good. Okay. Thank you. You can go ahead.
Okay, guys.
But remember about the time. All guys want to produce their speech. Okay.
I got it. Okay, let's start, guys.
Thank you. Go.
Hello from Russia, guys. Currently, I'm in Moscow, but I hope that I will be able to have a tour to Hong Kong and Singapore as soon as it will be possible. Hello, guys. My name is Nikita Prokhorov. I'm a co-founder of Reputation House. This company is one of hosts of today's event. And please leave a message in chat that you hear me, that you see me. You can put smile in chat, hello, hi, and yes, guys, high five to you all. I'm proud to be here with you today, and I'm proud to serve you today. My name is Nikita Prokhorov. As I have already said, I'm a co-founder of Reputation House. You can see my contacts on the slide. Please feel free to contact me anywhere, LinkedIn, Instagram, email, and I have put on a QR code of WeChat. Yes, I use it and I like it. Guys, I have already gotten several messages from our Indian viewers. They said that sometimes slides of speakers are very little for the gadgets. So if you need my presentation, please send me messages on LinkedIn and I will provide you with my presentation today. Let's start. I'm going to tell you about online reputation management today. My business partner will continue. He will present you the second part of our report today. What is Reputation House? Actually, our company is already a market leader of online reputation management in Russia. And several years ago, we started our company in Hong Kong. And now we try to improve online reputation of Asian brands, of Hong Kong brands, of Chinese brands. And we will always be glad to work with any international brands. What is online reputation management? Actually, it is my life. There are 5 main models of online reputation management, and today I will tell you about several of them. First of all, it is social listening. There are several online services like SaaS services, cited service, which help us to gather mentions. Who leave messages to you in the internet? Who sent you bad reviews on the internet? How many likes? How many shares? Which is the overall engagement of your brand? My companion will tell you a lot of interesting things about online, about social listening today. Then communication with negative mentions. Guys, first of all, I will like to persuade you that negative mentions in internet are okay. If you have many clients, clients will send you some bad messages. If you have many clients, clients will always leave bad reviews to you. You all have already seen bad reviews about any brand in Booking.com, in Amazon, on AliExpress, on eBay. We will tell you about ways of working with bad negative today, but negative is okay. Don't worry about it. Then spreading of positive information, spreading of positive news. Guys, I hope that you understand that it is one of main tasks of any digital manager, of any digital PR manager, to spread positive information, spread positive things, spread positive news about your brand. We will find some way how can we do it for your brand today. And actually, yes, I will have separate workshop with a close group today. If you want to join it, ask me and we will find a way of spreading positive information about your brand. In my favorite part of online reputation management is SERM. It's search engine reputation management. We will find the ways how can we fulfill Google search engine result pages, Yahoo search engine result pages, how can we fulfill it with higher quantity of positive information, of positive websites to you, and how can we create positive websites which will be under your control. So let's start about it. Actually, there are 5 main objects of online reputation. Typical situation when client asks us to improve reputation of goods or of services. Actually, it's not difficult because we always can find a way how can we persuade clients to leave positive reviews about goods or services. But please pay attention to the third object, it's brands. Maybe you have faced a very terrible competitor who will try to create a black PR campaign about your brand. And he will not try to hit reputation of goods or services. He will try to spoil the reputation of the whole brand. We will talk about it. And please pay attention to HR, its fourth object. It is one of trendy part of online reputation management industry. During this year, many brands have asked us to improve their reputation as an employer, as HR brand, because many brands are trying to hire huge quantity of employees, of people during this COVID period. And yes, please pay attention to the fifth model, it's persons. Actually, yes, there are many leaders and heads of brands who want to improve not brand reputation, they want us to improve their personal reputation. Personal branding is very important because sometimes it's much more easier to improve reputation and image of headliner of brand, of boss brand. And then this person will try and will be able to improve the online image of their whole brand. Actually, there is one very interesting guy, Warren Buffett. He's very famous international financier. And he has said very interesting phrase that it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about it, you'll do things differently. Yes, guys, actually creation of a good online reputation will take 5 or 6 months. It's a very long period of time and you'll be able to ruin it very fast. So how can we help you to improve your reputation? Let's start with SERM, search engine reputation management. What is it? Yes, I have created this infographic. We find the way how can we find something positive about your brand, or how can we create something positive about brand, and then we promote these websites to the top of search engine result page. So we will help your potential clients and we will help your future clients to find something positive about your brand, not negative information, not neutral information. They will find something positive, or they will find positive websites which will be under your control. What can we do for that, and what can you do for that? First of all, thanks to my colleagues for this beautiful slide. I would like you to understand that actually search engine result messengers and search engine engines are very different in different countries. First of all, please pay attention. Russia is on the left. I'm in Russia currently. China is in the middle, and the United States is on the right part of the screen. Please pay attention that actually, for example, in Russia, we don't use Yahoo at all. We have Yandex and Google, and American guys use Yahoo and Google. We have different search engines. We have different messengers. We have different video hostings. We have different advertising engines. So if you work internationally, you will have to adapt your work to every country where do you work. So you will have to promote your websites in Russia, in Yandex or in Google, in Baidu in China, and in Yahoo in USA. And sometimes you will have to use different search engine strategies. What should you promote in internet? Guys, yes, it is something about search engine optimization, but it is not difficult. Just believe me. I advise you to make a screenshot of this website, of this slide. If you want to ask me to provide you with presentation, I would like you to save exactly this one slide, because it is the main idea of search engine reputation management. First of all, yes, we will have to create a lot of accounts and groups in different social networks. For example, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, RuTube in Russia, and many different social networks in different countries. For what? Because we will have to promote it in different search engines in different countries. Then we will create a lot of websites for your brand with branded domains. For example, name of your brand.com, name of your brand reviews.net, name of your brands Russia.org, name of your brands -HongKong.com, and stuff like that. As high quantity of websites you create, as easier work in the online reputation management you will have. And yes, Wikipedia and many other internet encyclopedias, guys, actually there are 200 or 300 online encyclopedias in the world, and you will be able to create articles in every of them. And this way you will be able to fulfill search engine results with huge quantity of websites, and this way you will be able to show to your clients positive information about brand. And we will talk about details of these websites on our workshop today. I hope you'll join it. Let's move here. If you want to do a business internationally, for example, if you want to promote your business in China, in Hong Kong, or maybe you're already in Hong Kong and you want us to promote your business in Russia or in Eastern Europe. First of all, this is my view of work internationally. You should choose a headliner. It can be speaker, it can be boss of your brand, it can be head of your brand. It will be guy who will have his separate personal brand, and we will try to promote it. We will create a huge quantity of content, articles, news, reviews, and websites. We will try to promote it to mass media. This way we will capture a huge quantity of positions in search engine result page. Yes, we'll translate and we will create some videos about you and invite you to international events, because it will be a very fast way to promote your brand internationally in different countries. And all these tools will be able to help you to capture lines in search engine result page. Communication with negative mentions. Actually, it is just a matter of time when somebody will try to leave negative messages to you, and when somebody will try to leave negative reviews about your brand. Guys, you will always have to work with negative mentions. If you think that your brand doesn't get any negative reviews, maybe you just don't see it. Think about it. What should we do with it? First of all, just understand that sometimes leaving and creation of bad reviews, it is the best way for your clients to get discounts from you and to get some promo codes for you. So don't be surprised when somebody leaves bad reviews about your cell phones, about your hotels, and about any of your services. Please pay attention to this slide. Guys, do you know what are these? Do you know every of these icons, every of these logotypes? Actually, these are different messengers and different popular social networks in Russia and in Eastern Europe. I'm sure that some of you don't know some of these logotypes. But if you want to do business internationally, you will have to work with all local social networks, with all local messengers, just to face all your clients and just to persuade your clients that you are a very cool brand. Be ready for that you will have to create different communication channels. For example, when we work with top banks and with top cell operator services in Russia and in Eastern Europe, Actually, we use more than 100 social networks and messengers in different countries to face all mentions of clients and to communicate with clients. That is why you will have to use social listing systems to gather all mentions from your customers. Actually, please make a screenshot of this slide. These are two ways of communications with your clients. Clients will try to leave messages and reviews on your website, or maybe clients will try to leave messages and reviews on third-party resource. So there are two ways. Please pay attention that there is only one end of both ways. It's always compensating for the negative. You will always should fight for every client. You should try to save every client. Sometimes people try to leave bad messages and bad reviews, not because they try to hit your brand. Maybe they are just unhappy. They want to get some attention. I hope that you will try to make all your clients happy. I will try to show you much more information on our current workshop today. So I hope that you'll join it. If you'll need this presentation, leave me a message in LinkedIn. And yes, guys, who are typical clients of online reputation management? It's so you can check the slide. It's travel agencies, real estate, FMCG, education, automobile brand. Automobile brand is very typical. Producer of sales phones, shopping center, personal reputation. Actually, almost all brands should ask us to take care about their reputation. Almost all brands should take care about reputation by their own. If you want us to help you to take care about your reputation, please check the slide. Here's a link, demnights.com/ORM. If you will send a request to this link, I will provide you with free audit of your online reputation. You will get a personal access to our mobile application, and you will get several special gifts from me. Actually, I like gifts, and my special gift will... Actually, I have one very special gift. I will be able to provide you with it in 2 or 3 months. Yesterday, our book has won a competition of best business book in Eastern Europe from PricewaterhouseCoopers. Currently, we work on English translation and on Chinese translation with it. So when I will get it, I will send this book to you guys. If you need a free online reputation audit, here's the link. Ask me for it, and I hope that we will work together. Actually, I would like my business partner Dima to continue my presentation. He will tell you a lot of things about social listening. Guys, there is one very cool speaker on right side of the screen. It's me, actually, yes. Thank you for attention. If you like my presentation, write something to me in chat, and I hope that we will communicate with you. Feel free to join my workshop today. And yes, here's my contacts in LinkedIn, in Instagram, in WeChat. If you need my presentation, if you want to get in touch, feel free to come to connect with me. Thank you for attention. I'm proud to serve you, and I'm proud to be with you today, guys.
Thank you, Nikita. Thank you, Nikita. But there's one very good question from the chat. Yes. What if all mentions are negative? What to do if all mentions are negative?
If all of your mentions are negative, first of all, you should ask me to make a reputation audit for you. It's no joke, because we should find a reason for it. Why all mentions are negative? Maybe there is something wrong with your services. Maybe there is something wrong with your website. Maybe people just are not able to make an order from you. Or maybe you have faced several cruel rivals and competitors who create all these negative mentions. So we will try to find a reason why all messages are negative. And actually, guys, thank you for attention. Any other questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nikita. We're out of our timetable, out of our schedule, so we need to speed up. Okay, Dima, are you here? I would like to invite the next speaker, Dima from Reputation House. He will continue the speech of Nikita. Dima, try to log in, please.
Hello, guys. Dima, do you hear me?
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I will continue after Nikita. So I will try to start my presentation. Or maybe somebody can
So
help
go ahead.
me.
Thank you.
Maybe somebody can help me to launch a presentation. Dima, can you do it for me? Dima, if you hear me, please start my presentation. It is called GonConc 3.1. My presentation. Yeah, thank you. Hello, guys. I hope you hear me and see my presentation. I will be very short. I have only 10 minutes. And for those of you who doesn't know who I am, my name is Dima. I'm a physicist. My job was to write programs that will modulate signals from detector in a Large Hadron Collider. So I'm a real physicist. 15 years ago, I worked in CERN, Geneva. Maybe you have heard about it. And we had a lot of test information, and that was real big data. We tried to predict what will happen with particles after collision of two protons with very high energy. It was very interesting, but I want to tell you not about physics, but about social media. Facebook produces billions of posts, messages, likes every day, billions every day. So I think that we all have another kind of collider around us. So social media. More than 10 years in our company, Reputation House, more than 10 years we do analytics in social media. Each day, more than 100 scientists in our company analyze millions of messages. And today I want to tell you about the commercial part of our work, what we do for business, people, and government. Nikita already told you about reputation management, but I will speak about brand protection, fake news, risks, and predictions. Some statistics, first of all. Maybe you know a lot of people use internet, and a lot of people use social media. And you can imagine what we do every day. We take smartphone, unlock it, and what we do, we open social networks, messengers, and so on. The second idea is that the amount of social media users continue to grow very fast. And last month showed us that sometime, maybe, all people will sit at home and communicate using social media. And the last statistics is that we spend a lot of time online, almost 7 hours online spent people in Hong Kong and Philippines, more than 10 hours. And what people do online? First of all people are different and they use different social media. If you want to know what people do online, you should gather all information that they post online. Second difficulty is that we have different types of information. We have a lot of information and it has different types. And text messages, images, sound messages, videos, and so on. And when we analyze this information, we see that people talk about other people, about celebrities, about football players, about companies, about their products and services. They write reviews and talk about politics. And it is not so easy to collect information. A lot of people ask me to do something with fake news about COVID-19. As you can see in this picture, users write about COVID-19 about 100 million messages each week. 100 million messages each week. But we have good news. Every day, every new day, people and journalists write less. And through this picture, I can predict when all this situation become non-popular. How can we gather information? It is not surprising for you. We have social media monitoring tools. Some of them you can see in this picture. And if you want to get whole Excel file with analytics about more than 20 systems, please use QR code or a link you can see in this picture. What is the most important thing when you choose social media monitoring tools? Sources of information, how many sources you can see, and a speed of collecting information. For example, Mr. Putin's press conference is going online. We have a lot of important messages each minute, and we have to do analytics very fast. We find messages, do risk predictions, make decisions, do reactions, and measure results. Great work during only a minute, maybe. Such cases, for such cases, when we have a lot of data, some companies and some countries construct even data rooms. This is a model of data room for social media monitoring, and please compare it with real data room in Large Hadron Collider. They are very similar. And I already told you that we help companies and people to analyze and correct their reputation. But the most interesting thing is to do brand protection, to predict what will happen with company next day, maybe next minute, next hour. Sometimes we protect countries and cities from fake news and information attacks. You can see an example of analytics about Hong Kong. This is one of our cases. Also, for example, using social media monitoring system, you can find all messages about weather. For example, you can see where is rain and when is rain. And even you can see how it looks like. Which kind of rain do you have? We can repeat such measurements each minute and see a speed and direction of rain. Collecting data from social media, you can predict weather. It's not a miracle. It's a very simple task for us. Such idea we can use for epidemics. We can collect information from online news, from social media, and see where people have some difficulties with health, and put it on the map, and then continue do such measurement and see direction and speed of epidemics. So we can predict future. Collecting information from social media, we can predict future. And I think there will be a lot of startups about it in the nearest future. If we can predict future, maybe we can change future. And I want to show you the last thing in my presentation. I want to give you an opportunity to see how we predict future, how we do fake news recognition, detection. Some months ago, we presented mobile application for brand protection and prediction. There are only 3 brand protection mobile applications in the world, and one of them is ours. So you can find it in the Apple Store or Play Market. And using it, you can collect information about your company, about your country. You can see all messages from Instagram, Facebook, and so on. You can see very interesting pictures. You can, using this application, continue reading message in social media, push the button, and you will see it in the social media. And also you can affect it. You can ask us to do something with this message if you think that it is not correct, maybe, and you want to delete it. And one interesting case, 2 months ago, Russian's biggest retail company, sport company, had fake news about its closing. It is not closing, it's okay, but fake news were detected, and we detected it using our social media tool, social media monitoring tool, mobile application. You can see how it looks in the mobile application. You can see how many messages, positive, negative. You can see different cities, geography of attack, and social media characteristics. And it's very, very similar for machine learning to predict some cases like this. And the final slide in my presentation, you can try ION brand protection system. ION because we are physicists, because we are scientists, and brand protection is a very interesting thing, and it can be very useful for you, and you will not lose millions because of fake news or some negative mentions. So you can write our friend in Hong Kong, Dima, and he can help you to do your own application, mobile application about your company, and you will collect information about your business, and maybe you will detect some fake news about you. Thank you, guys.
Okay, great, Dima, great. Thank you, Dima. Thank you, Nikita, for the great speech. It was very interesting and fantastic. So also, you guys, all our attenders, you can use links below the video. There you can fulfill the form and get absolutely for free your reputation management audit and many other things from our partners and so on. Yeah, thank you, Dima. Thank you so much. And we are going next now. Many of you waited for these minutes, and now I want to give a word to Alan Poon. Alan Poon. He is our special guest today from the Google. He is agency developer manager, and he will talk to us about the e-commerce customer trends on Google during the COVID. Alan, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, great.
Can you see my
Thank
slide
you
as
so
well?
much for attending our
All right,
event.
it's my pleasure.
Yes, we are a little bit late, but now you
Right.
can go ahead. I won't take any time for you.
Sure.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure you guys can see my screen right now. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, cool. Okay, let me present. So my name is Alan, and I work in Google. I joined Google 4 years ago. So actually, I've been like working with small clients, SME clients, and also like corporate accounts. And also, I have been into the product team in Google as well. Now I'm the agency development manager for Hong Kong. So basically, I manage like our partners in Hong Kong. So that's why they can also serve like the regional apex as well. Today I'll also like introduce Lars, who is our also premium partners of Google. So later on, he will also speak on like some of the SEO and also SEM, what you guys should do. So I'm very like. It's my pleasure to join Digital Marketing Nights tonight, and as I'll share a little bit on the e-commerce customers trends on Google, like especially during the COVID, because like I understand many of you today are actually the owner of e-commerce stores. So actually, you all guys know actually a lot of people actually buy a little bit more online. But is there any data to support this? And actually, are there any like specific trends that you guys should be aware of? And that's the topic I'll go through with you guys today. So as you guys know, actually this is not something new as well. So if you go on Google and then you guys search about coronavirus and stuff. So actually, you can get a lot of information over there. You can look at a lot of news and updates over there. So coronavirus is definitely the most searched topics in Google with Google, our properties like the Google search and also like maps and YouTube's across like all different kind of Google properties that we have. So definitely coronavirus has been the most searched topic over there. So if you can see the graph in the middle over there, it's kind of interesting. So there was no one, the blue graph is actually about like the topics, every search terms about coronavirus or queries about coronavirus. But then like since in 2020 in January, it hits the North America, and also it hit a lot of like different places. Actually, the search index goes way up over there, and it even takes over news and also music, restaurants, and mask topic, this kind of stuff. So these are some of the trends that we can share with you. And also, if you look at the right graph, actually over there, you can see like what are the most interested topic over there. So in US, I guess it's because of the election or whatever. So actually the news take over the coronavirus, but still, actually coronavirus is the second most hit topic, and also Russia is definitely all about like coronavirus, and you can see like all this kind of like each countries, what are they most concerned about. So these all data are coming from Google search, Google Trend, and basically you can just go Google and search about Google Trend, and then you can see a lot of like coronavirus over there. So today I summarize a little bit and for you guys to have a look. To all those data, actually, I think I would like to draw your attention to some of those trends, because you guys are e-commerce owners, and then because you should be aware of some trends and also data that are related to your business, rather than to like understand a little bit more like how many people actually go to eat pizza. So this kind of irrelevant search or queries are actually irrelevant to you unless you are doing like restaurants and stuff. So today I'll talk a little bit more about like the shopping behavior and also like the consumer behavior. So what do consumers actually in the global? So today's all my data is talking about the global data, because I understand that many of you are actually running e-commerce, and with Easyship and also with all other like logistic and payment partners, actually you guys can ship globally. So basically today data will talk a little bit more on the global perspective. So if you really want to know about like in countries data or whatever, you can reach our like Lars from First Page, which is our premium partner in Hong Kong. So today what I'll be talking about will be like what do they expect when people are doing shopping, and what are they actually because of COVID everyone stays home, or even like place in Hong Kong or Taiwan which are more safe, but the thing is they are also doing like social distancing. So what are the consumer behavior changing in these places in globally, and also like what kind of consumers when they are staying home, what are the things that they are consuming, what are the materials, online materials and content and stuff. So let's go on to what consumers are actually thinking and what people expect and how they are solving for their needs during the corona pandemic. So first of all, when we need to understand what people are thinking, we have to like understand, because if we're talking about the global, so if each of the different places are in different stages of the pandemic, right, of the COVID-19. For example, in Hong Kong and Taiwan, actually there are no local cases anymore. So actually the economic is actually getting in the rebound stage. So actually many people actually going out from home, from jail, actually, our position like this. So people are going out again. But for some of those countries, for example, US or some other Europe countries, they are still at the floor stage, which means they are like still mandated to like stay at home, or actually it's still not really safe to go out there. So actually they are still quarantined at home. So make sure when you make this decision for your e-commerce business for those countries, bear in mind that you need to make those strategies and strategize your business strategy on different countries. And this is very important. So, okay, this is something I would like to tell you. So when everyone is panicked about like COVID, right? But the thing is it okay for like your consumers still reach that, or for advertisers or for like businesses like you e-commerce players to reach them? Actually, over 85% of the US consumers said it's completely acceptable for companies and brands to communicate at this time. So actually, you can still play some ads or SEO or whatever, craft your message to your potential customers. But the thing is, what do you need to communicate with them? It's the key. It's not talking about like, okay, now you can still buy a shoe, or now you can still like order from us because there are some insurance planners really good for you. But the thing is like they are more likely to know about like how you care about the community, then and also like how actually is there any like policy or changes that your company are adapting during the COVID-19, and is it related to those consumers? And these are what they are cared for. Okay, so also if you have a store, so in Google, actually we got a lot of like more queries on like finding finding the stores that are open. So the terms open or still open is one of those key terms in Google search, because like nowadays, all the offline stores are actually closed mostly. So actually, if you're talking about like US, most stores are businesses are still closed. So that's why people are really searching for like things that are open. So restaurants nearby still open, clothing stores still open and stuff. But I think it's like just thinking about if you guys are an e-commerce store, you guys should take the advantage to take over those market shares from those retail stores, because like they are your competitors, right? But the thing is like how you can actually leverage the change of this consumer behavior and get the business for yourself. Okay, and the second trend I would like to highlight to you guys is actually 45% of households with kids think their future online purchases will increase. So actually, they are more maybe like for e-commerce players, actually it is more favorable to you because people are not really going out, they are not really comfortable with like going to the physical store, so actually they do purchase a little bit more from you guys. I hope this if I'm an e-commerce player, what I would think about is, okay, so if I'll check if my businesses are really going up with like maybe like 45% or whatever, because this is something that you should be aligned with your other like players or your industry. Or else if your business are really dropping, I do think that you should start to think about if there's anything that you are missing out the opportunities. Okay, cool. So while there are intentions to continue to buy online, 25% of online shoppers globally find the online shopping experience less satisfying than visiting a physical store. So definitely you understand that physical store, you can try on the fashion, you can talk to the sales or whatever, but I think it's online stores now, it's such trend and it's so easy, and also it do delivery. But I think it's how we can make sure that the shopping experience in your website is as good as possible with the physical store. It couldn't be like as good as the physical store, but what we're trying to do here is make sure your UI, your UX, and also your shopping cart, everything, the functionality in your website, it should be functioned well, right? So this is something why there is like some shipping companies and logistic companies and also like payment options. There are a lot of like partners that you should choose a little bit more, because like we do have a data showing that like people, if they cannot check out, they will definitely choose to another, because there are a lot of e-commerce players out there, right? So this is something that we do need to take care of. And also 50% of the general population says they are paying more attention to prices. So what is it like, what is the implication to e-commerce player? I would say like if you can do a little bit more on the COVID promotions, or for some of those items to some of the products that are your star products, and then you can do a little bit more promotion over there, definitely, or discount, definitely you are getting a little bit more business, because like this trend is not stopping, and it's continued to increase week over week. We can see that like a lot of people are searching for like lower prices stuff. Cool. And the fifth trends I would like to highlight to you guys are some of those countries over there after the COVID-19, after the pandemic, actually they are more prone to buy products that are produced locally because they want to support the local economy. So for e-commerce player, I understand that maybe you guys are working in Hong Kong, but you ship to like other places. So actually you guys are doing a little bit of export, or you guys are in Russia and then you're exporting to Malaysia. But the thing is, so if I were you, what will I do? I'll focus on those 58, so like on the right side, those countries. So actually they are more prone to, if you're developed into a new markets, I would prone to like develop those markets. They don't have more favorability on buying local, right? Or else if you are from Italy, of course, definitely you can like advertise a little bit more, or actually promote your stores, your brand in Italy. But the thing is, if you're not, then I'll maybe focus on like Belgium, Poland, US, UK, and Germany, because they don't have people over there, don't have a favorability to like where are these shops from. Cool. So we have already like talked about what consumers are actually thinking. There are like 5 things I would like to highlight to you guys. So the first thing, if you have a store, to keep it open. And the second thing is, of course, like make sure your UI and UX shopping experience is great. And also if your target audience or your consumers are actually families, make sure you target a little bit more to them and craft your message to them. It's more kids related, and show them the benefits of buying from you. Also, and make sure that you understand that they are price sensitive right now, and see if you guys can do a discount or promotions, and or maybe give them like some free samples as well is also okay. So, and also you have to know about like the trend is made in my country, and then they are proud of it, and then they will like prioritize those local brands over other brands. Cool. So we have talked a little bit about like what customers are looking for. So now we are talking about what consumers are really searching in Google. So a little bit more about like so search terms. So I can show you a little bit more over here. So this is something I really want to tell you as time, because like now we used to work, we used to drive to work, we used to work at like, I work in Times Square in Hong Kong, and then I drive back home, and then on the way, usually I pick up my grocery and stuff. But the thing is now, if we are talking about like work from home, and also like during the COVID situation, there are social distancing, there are a lot of like activities that we cannot engage, right? So actually the time and space has completely shifted. So it's become a little bit more fluid. People find new ways to stay occupied and productive and to resume their life, because everyone is stressed. I just read an article from INSEAD, and then there are like, even though like we work from home sound very chill, but the thing is work from home is supposed to be like a place that for everyone to chill. But the thing is when work and life are now blending together, there are some stress that we cannot cater. So actually people are really finding some more creative ways to stay occupied and productive, and also to be entertained as well. So if you are looking at these kind of like trends, it may not related to what your businesses are, but I would just like to like show you the things that they are trying to be really creative. For example, at home nail. So how actually is there any like go to your home nail surfaces? Or is there like investment near me? I think this is really weird. Like, how can I find investment? Because investment usually I do with like some finance institution or banks and stuff, right? But the thing is like, how can I like, why did people like search for investment near me? Because they are also looking for investment opportunities. Actually, their life and actually their interests won't change. But the thing is how they engage with those businesses, how they engage with e-commerce owners like you, it's different. So this is the things that we need to change about. It's more like so philosophical. Okay, and I'd like to highlight you the next one. It's that like now there are some practices actually on the right side. They used to go out for movies, they used to go out to have art class, they used to go out to buy art supplies. But the thing is now they are trying to have more creative ways to do this kind of things at home, especially for those who have kids. You see like cards for the kids, actually they will like, if they have a printer at home, they will try to download online rather than going to the grocery store and buy one of those birthday card or whatever. So they will make themselves those cards. So I think these are all relevant like trends for you guys to search in Google Trend to find those relevant trends that are relevant to your business. And this is the most important thing. Okay, so this is the some of the key learnings on how people's behavior are changing. Time and location, the time and space are actually changed. So actually people like having another like way to engage, and they do work and leisure both at home. That means like they used to like go to grocery store, they used to go to like shopping mall for shopping. Now they change. So e-commerce, there is a great opportunity for you guys to promote your brand over there, to let them know. But the thing is how. Okay, so these are how it's actually the key. So actually I'm suggesting you guys to like scan the QR code over there. It's totally free. Google do a lot of like free things. So like Google Translate, Gmail and stuff. So actually there is a thing called Google Trend. If you go to Google Trend, there are several things I would suggest you to do. The first thing is go into the coronavirus section. We have a lot of like engineered effort put in that, and then to help everyone in different countries or even for global. So they can like show you what are the insights for each of those countries or the selected countries. What are the insights over there? What are the rising search terms? What are the heat topics? They will tell you definitely about that. And the second thing is what you can do is talk about if you are e-commerce selling electronic products. So what electronic products are currently a little bit more hit and the demands are higher. Actually, you can compare like hair dryer search terms and the queries of hair dryer, or like some dehumidifier, something like that. So actually you can do a lot of comparison and you can play around that. And interactive platforms that you can see like what are the demands over there. So this is something that I really suggest you guys for using, and it's free. So the third thing is like people are stuck at home. So what actually are they doing? Because we talk about like they work and leisure at home. So work, definitely people use like Hangout or like different other like or Skype, something like online videos, conference platforms that they use. But for leisure, like people, what actually are they watching? So other than TV, definitely people watch a little bit more like online contents as well. So there are different like cute YouTube, because YouTube belongs to Google as well. So that's why we understand a little bit more about like what people actually watch. There are a lot of like weird like data, but the thing is, I really want to highlight it's bubble tea is my favorite. So I highlight this like 200% increase in average daily views of bubble tea recipe videos. So people really like making food at home now because like they can order online. So actually order from supermarkets online, they deliver it to our home, and then I can make our own recipes. People really stay at home and eat a lot. So pizza recipe also have like 700 million views since March. And we are just talking about like to May. So actually it doesn't include this month. Okay, so actually a lot of like this kind of stuff. So I would like to really show you that what are the trends in Google. So what are the top rising like video contents in YouTube? What are they consuming? So actually definitely they are doing a lot of cookings, because cooking hit an all-time high since like the COVID, and or not even COVID, it's since like Google established. And also exercise as well. So people do exercise at home. They don't want to like lose their body shape. So actually they do a lot of like gyms and stuff, workout at home. Cool. So these are what people watch. So definitely the coronavirus pandemics, you can see the right on the left lower corner, the coronavirus pandemic drove life online. It may never return. But the thing is, I really want to show you that like Google has a lot of platforms that you can reach your advertisers. So for example, search, for example, like some of those banners in those websites that they are interested, people don't change their life. It's such they change how they react with businesses. So this is something that I really want you guys to remember. Then I would like to talk a little bit more on the food for thoughts, like what are something other companies other than Google they are thinking about this pandemic change and changing consumer behavior. There are several articles I really, really like, and then I would like to share with you. Those are the QR codes, and you can definitely scan it and have a look over there. So I think if for a business owner, if I'm a business owner, I'll be thinking, I'll prepare for the economic like recovery. So this is something that I do. So this article is definitely talk about that. So if I'm a business owner, what should I be prepared when people are really going out? Or actually, you don't need to wait them to go out, because e-commerce can also like ship to them their home, right? So how can you leverage this opportunity? And the second thing, it's actually, we do see that it's a really drastic change in the Gen Z, like how they actually react, because Gen Z are known to use a lot of online things, right? But now they are even using a little bit more on the digital side. So actually, you guys can try to focus your communication business strategy to take out the Gen Z as an isolated crowd, and then you can craft your like business strategy towards those Gen Z, because they do have like different change in also consumer behaviors as well. So if you are really interested in this topic, scan the QR code and then you can have a look over there. Cool. So the final several stuff is just to want you to understand a little bit more about like the period. So make sure when you draft your like business strategy, make sure you understand that those countries that you are like doing, if you're targeting US, if you're targeting China, definitely they are in different stage, right? China is in recovery, and then US is in floor and in the middle of floor and rebound, right? So definitely you have to craft your business strategies differently. And the last one is McKinsey, which is my favorite article over there, because like it's talk a little bit more about like management stuff, and also it's talking about like what are the next normal. Can your company actually cope with this COVID, and to make sure that you are getting the most out of it? And then you can actually have a look at this article. And these are like, there are several like practices help retailers and CPGs, but definitely it's not for e-commerce. But the thing is that there is something that you can leverage. I do think the most very important thing is the rapid reprioritizations, because the consumer change, right? There are a lot of trends we have shown just now, right? There are a lot of trends to catch. But the thing is, if you can change it, if you can catch the trends, and then you change it into business strategy, and then you implement it, and then you get results from it. This is the most important stuff. I think this is yeah, this is the essence of it. So there is like a lot of trends, and definitely this is some global trends. It's definitely not like some localized, that maybe like Singapore trends, the Indonesia trends, but definitely if you are really find it hard to catch up the trend. So I'll introduce first page. Lars will be the next speaker, and they are our like premier Google partners. So actually they do help our clients to do a lot of digital marketing. So if you want to catch the trends, definitely they are like really aware of them, and then maybe they are even more close to me because they use Google Trend a lot. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation, and thank you so much for inviting me to the Digital Marketing Nights, and thanks for having me. Thank you.
It's gorgeous, yeah. Okay, so I think it would be great if we collect some questions, and maybe you can answer them later, because we need to speed up, and I want to invite my friend Lars to the stage. Yeah, and it would be great. Lars, are you here? While we are waiting for the Lars, you guys, all our attenders can go below the video and tap the link for the free online reputation audit, or for free digital marketing strategy, and so on. Lars, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh, I see that your mic like working, but I cannot hear you actually. I hope our technical team will help us right now.
Well, it says it's working on my side. I just can't
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great, great. Lars, welcome to the stage, and take your time, my friend.
Yeah, could you help me upload the slides, please?
Lars?
Yes, I'm right here. Alan seems to be able to hear me, but you're not.
That was a very short sound from you, but now I cannot hear you.
Okay, well, the mic says it's working. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Yes, okay, so Frankie can hear me as well. Eric can hear me. Dima, for some reason, I don't seem to be getting through to you. Could you also please upload the slides that I submitted earlier? Thank you, Maxim. Yeah, I need some help uploading the slides, please. Okay, so everyone is able to hear me, but the slides aren't getting uploaded. So that's pretty much the only thing holding me back. I think while this is happening, just to kind of give you guys an overview. So Alan quite rightly already pointed out that things are changing within the realm of how we utilize search and how that impacts different volume elements. This will, of course, also have an incredible impact in regards to utilizing the opportunities associated to different search volumes, especially when it comes to driving traffic to your website and giving your brand visibility. So I'm going to be focusing on SEO today when my slides do decide to upload at some point during this evening. Perfect. Okay, so I want to jump straight into it because there's a lot to cover, and I'm going to do my best in terms of just delivering as much value as I can from a knowledge-based perspective. So here we go. Today, I want to cover how search engines work. I think fundamentally this is incredibly important because as you know how they work, you can adjust to them. Then we will also dive deeper into what SEO is. I understand this is predominantly a topic that everyone understands more from a conceptual perspective. So that basically means the fundamental basics of just ranking your website higher, but the ecosystem surrounding this is a little bit more complex. Looking into the online user journey when it comes to e-commerce in itself, conducting keyword research and really finding that main winner that can drive results for you, followed by technical SEO, and some of the most important elements that you could easily implement yourself, and a little bit of advice on content that I've collected from working with quite a number of different customers that I have the pleasure of working together with. So before I jump into this, so First Page is an integrated digital marketing agency. What really that translates to is the fact that we aren't just channel-centric towards one thing. So we do SEO, search engine optimization. We do work very closely with Google when it comes to Google's entire product portfolio. And there's some exciting stuff in there, especially when it comes to like Google shopping ads, which a lot of my customers have seen a lot of success on. But on to the next. I want to jump deeper into how search engines work. And before we do, I think fundamentally there are a lot of alternative search engines out there, but Google will always, and for the better future, always maintain the majority of global market share. There are select markets, especially markets like China as well as Russia, where the numbers are going to be a little bit more skewed because there's more competition in this space. But nonetheless, if you optimize for Google, you will essentially get the overall exposure for your website that you require. I think when it comes down to search engines, and I like using a bit of a metaphor here rather than going into the technical construct of how a search engine works. And fundamentally, if I really knew all of the details, that is not open to public. But generally speaking, the way you need to picture it is that Google in itself is like this humongous library that collects data. And in this humongous library, there is a crazy proactive and hyper-efficient librarian. Every single time you basically put together a website, so that would be the equivalent of a book, the librarian reads the book and tries to understand it, and then puts it into the section of the library, which is essentially the database. And whenever a user types a query, the librarian remembers where this book is placed and what the contents of this book is, and then basically lists or brings over an entire pile of books to this user based on the relevancy to their keyword search term. So whenever you type something into Google, Google basically has a massive database of different websites, and they will find the most relevant ones to the to that keyword or to that query, so to speak. When we focus a little bit more on what SEO is and why it's important, I think fundamentally, I see data ranges anywhere between 60% to 92% of all traffic in relation to keywords actually engaging with results on the first page of Google. There's an ongoing joke that the easiest way to hide a dead body is actually on the second page. So that is why it is such a hotly contested area of real estate, especially when it comes to the online market. It's made up of really two components, and one of them is on page and the other one is off page. And when you're focused on the on page elements, these are again split into two fundamental differences, which is the front end component and the back end component. So when we're focused on the front end component, Google's algorithm is pretty interesting. It also takes into consideration user behavior, so how users engage with your website, how many pages they look into, how much time they spend on your website, and also takes into consideration what your bounce rate is. So that is essentially anyone landing on your website, looking through just one page and then basically bouncing. So just limiting their overall journey experience to one page on your website. We really define this as more optimizing your website for the user experience. So as Alan already stated, UX is incredibly important here. The information you have on your website needs to be engaging enough to address different user queries. And then in addition to that, it needs to have a seamless experience when it comes to actually navigating the website. Don't confuse users when they're trying to navigate your website by having navigation elements that restrict them from doing that. Then you have the backend component. So the backend component is really just more technical. Google is a text-based algorithm. So what it does is it actually crawls the individual pages of your website and tries to get a better understanding of what these individual pages represents. So if it's not structured properly, it's like having super messy handwriting and writing a book, and you're making the librarian's job harder to really understand the contents of your book, right? So the front-end component is optimizing for humans, and the back-end component is optimizing for the search engine itself. And why I love my job so much is we work tirelessly in finding that beautiful balance and finding the central point where we basically appeal to both, right? Then we have the off-page component. So the easiest way I explain this to a lot of my clients is it's kind of like a popularity contest, okay? So the more websites link back to yours, the more popular in the Google's algorithm you must be. But there's a difference. So if I am a blogger and I really don't have any people that read my website versus, let's say, a South China Morning Post that starts linking back to your website, Google fundamentally knows that the link from South China Morning Post is going to be a little bit more relevant. I think in addition to that, Google also looks into what kind of content pieces are linking back to your website and sees if there is a relevant fit. So if I'm in digital marketing and I get a backlink from Häagen-Dazs, even though it's a phenomenal brand, there is really no strong relation between what I do as a digital marketer and what we have available on our website and what Häagen-Dazs has on their website. Okay, so fundamentally, that's the ecosystem. Obviously, this is grossly oversimplifying it. There's over 200 variables when it comes to SEO, but today I hope to mention at least a few of them. When it comes to the user journey, we usually split it into 3 categories. So that's the awareness, consideration, and then the conversion stage. So nobody automatically just converts instantaneously unless it's a impulse-based purchase decision. So if I come across something and it's in relativity to my income, it's a minuscule decision for me to financially make, then yes, conversion is more likely on a first engagement basis. But based on our research, we actually find that within e-commerce stores, it takes at least a minimum of around 4 touch points before somebody makes a decision. So what happens during this process? In this process, they become aware of your brand, or they visit your website. They try to understand you a little bit more from a directional perspective. Like, what does your brand represent? How does it appeal to me? And how does it actually solve some of the core issues that I personally face? Like, they want you to solve their problems or present an opportunity in a sense. Once you address that, I do want to get a better understanding in what you guys do a little bit differently versus, let's say, the competitors that you work with, right? So within different industry verticals, you're going to be facing different levels of competition. So the differentiation elements and how it caters to the consumer are incredibly important to highlight. Last but not least, there's obviously the conversion perspective. So that's me having a thorough understanding of your brand, the USPs that appeal to me, and then, of course, making the purchase decision easy. Like, am I going to get my product within the next couple of days, or am I going to wait for months? Like, that is going to have an impact. Are you going to charge me for shipping? Are there any incentives that you can provide that maybe your competitor isn't providing at the time? Like, all of these different things will incentivize me to work from an awareness perspective all the way down to a conversion perspective. So let's begin with kind of understanding the idea of like keywords in themselves. Like, because when you talk about ranking your website on the first page, it's not just generically ranking your website and giving it visibility. It's giving your website visibility across keywords that are highly relevant to the products that you basically have in your website. For significantly larger websites where you have thousands and thousands of SKUs, like, even that is important to look at it more from a categorical perspective. Smaller websites, if you just have like 10 to 15 products, you can actually optimize from a product level as well. I tend not to really look into products unless it's a really small store, because products tend to change based on seasonality, bestsellers, and you will be changing your inventory as it evolves over time, and you find winner products that actually appeal to a wider audience. So let's jump into it. So really there's 3 types of main keywords that we focus on a lot. You have the generic keywords. So those are like think of it as like a short term. This is what people utilize when they have no idea what they're searching for. So for me, it would be like, hey, if I'm looking for a TV in Hong Kong, it would just be like TV Hong Kong. As I get more knowledge in regards to what's out there, I'm going to be a little bit more specific in my search. It would be like Panasonic Hong Kong TV, or Samsung TV in Hong Kong. So you tend to see that the user does have more of a brand preference when it comes to the broader keyword category. And then you have the long tail keyword category. So that would be like a Samsung flat screen 36-inch TV near me, Hong Kong. So the search volume down there with the long tail approach might be a little bit lower, but whenever someone does type that into Google and your website is optimized to show up for that keyword, you're more likely to actually attain a conversion from it. This is actually also true for channels like Google Search, where rather than organically ranking for keywords, you can actually bid through them through Google's auction house, right? But that's just to kind of keep in mind that generic keywords aren't necessarily good, because when I'm typing in just TV, what is the intent behind that? And that brings me to my next topic, right? So I've listed a couple of queries here to give you an idea of how you can generically start and then basically become more specific as you go down the line. And Google did have an update. This was actually on the 1st of, I can't really see my screen anymore, but there, 1st of October 2019. And this is where it gets really interesting, because Google's algorithm is getting smarter by the day, and what it actually looks into when someone types something into Google is they look into the words that actually get written prior to a search term, and then as well as one after a search term. And then they consolidate that understanding and kind of try to get an idea of what exactly you're looking for, right? There's a lot of words in multiple languages that Google caters to that have multiple meanings. So, right, context is important, and context also indicates intent. So you need to be hyper aware of these things, that when you're thinking about your products, also think about not just how you present them on your website and making it pretty, but really how would a user that wants to buy one of your products actually come across it, and what would they type into the search engine? And how can I basically write content that appeals to that search term? So the next question is always like, Lars, how do I actually integrate keywords into content, and how do I show up in the search engines based on these keywords? So I typed in the perfect pair of running shoes in Hong Kong, and as you can see, South China Morning Post is actually one of the top results here. So what have they done, right? So when it comes to their content, they've included it in the header, and they basically also included it in some of the main sections and summary paragraphs in the top of the article. And then throughout the article, you can reoccurringly actually see the mention of a perfect pair of running shoes, right? So again, when you are trying to come up with content, it does help to have a blog section and refresh the content on your website regularly. Google loves fresh content, because every single time you do a blog post, it essentially forces Google to crawl your website again, so it understands it and has everything in its database in its totality. So think about it this way. Whenever you come up with a blog article, it's kind of like coming up with an expansion to your book and coming up with a new edition. So whenever you have a new edition, the librarian is forced to read it again to understand it better, right? And as it understands it better and understands what kind of categories you're actually catering to, chances are you're going to be ranking for more keywords at the same time, right? So there's a couple of things you need to also be wary about when you do write content. So really having your content within the keywords within the headers and the main sections, looking at a keyword density where you're not spamming the crap out of these keywords, where like, hey, I'm the best ice cream shop in Hong Kong. If you want the best ice cream in Hong Kong, the best ice cream shop can be found in Wan Chai next to whatever. Like, so essentially, the utilization of individual keywords on a really repetitive manner can actually lead to the point of where you get penalized for it. Okay, so if you try to game the system, you basically get completely de-indexed and you need to start from scratch. Google doesn't hold grudges, but you don't want to ruin like all of this progress you make over time, right? So Also, when it comes to the perfect pair of running shoes, like do find alterations of like other ways of saying or indicating the same thing. There's synonyms that you can take advantage of that Google also understands that further amplify the idea of ranking you for that keyword that is so important to you. Now, let's focus on the technical elements. Whenever you basically work on WordPress, Shopify, a lot of these different CMS platforms give you the ability to actually highlight headings. Okay, so an H1, or what you see here, H1 indicates to Google that this is actually the most important header that summarizes the entire page that you want to present to a user in the online space. H2 would be a supporting headline towards the H1 headline. H3, the supporting 1 to 2, and so forth, right? So again, I do see a mislabeling of these quite often, or basically a heavy utilization where every other heading is an H1 header. So what you're telling Google is like, hey, these are all important, and you're really just confusing the algorithm, right? So systematically actually prioritize H1, H2, H3, H4 headers and make it very clear to Google, because again, this is kind of like a table of content, and it's organized for Google to understand kind of the main elements that you're trying to promote. I will go back to this librarian metaphor and the book metaphor over and over again, because I actually think it's relatively effective. This next thing, so page titles. So page titles as well as meta descriptions, which is on my next slide, is actually the way your website is going to show up based on a certain search term, right? So you need to optimize for this, because essentially whenever you show up in the search results, that is your sales pitch. You know, you're not, it's supposed to incentivize the user based on their search and the intent behind their search to go through all of the results and then come across yours and say, hey, this is addressing exactly what I was looking for. Is it a discount? Is it a certain category? Is it a certain like unique selling point that you want to highlight? Do you have a product that is really difficult to find elsewhere and you're the exclusive distributor for something? I mean, these are things that should be highlighted here, because it basically incentivizes the click. And that's really what we're hoping for, because your website and the content on it is supposed to sell the rest, right? When you're looking at technical, like the meta description element, so that would be this text. So CMS platforms, again, like Shopify, make this incredibly easy. There's also a character limit, right? So if you're looking at an unoptimized message or an unoptimized meta description, a lot of times what happens is that you see the ... and it just kind of cuts off. You run the risk in regards to actually cutting your message short, and it won't be as clear to the user, and they're more likely to pick something else that addresses everything in its totality a little bit more effectively. Remember, you have 50 to 160 characters here. Use every single one of them, but don't overdo it. Otherwise, you're gonna end up like Bloomingdale's. Okay. So this is just a really quick screenshot. Obviously, like look on the Digital Marketing Nights event page, there is my LinkedIn profile. You guys can add me. I will send this deck to you personally. You can actually manage your page titles and meta descriptions on WordPress here and on Shopify like this. Shopify actually helps you do it on a product level, which is really, really cool, because it gives you a complete control of how you show up in the search engine. The next is semantic markup, right? So this is actually something that was addressed earlier in Reputation House. If you do have a lot of like feedback and reviews, this is incredibly useful because it helps you with social proof. Whenever you have a happy client or a client that engages with you, make sure you follow up with them and actually ask them for their feedback. You know, people are very easy to write negative reviews whenever they're upset, but they will always write a positive review if you ask them for it. But unless you like don't incentivize them to do it, they will not react to it. We're not really likely to share our positive experiences unless it's truly an ecstatic experience, right? I think the other element which is really cool is if you use semantic markup effectively and you integrate it into code. So this is where it gets more complicated. You can address questions that users have straight off the search engine result pages, which actually enables you to take up more real estate and again, kind of push your competitors to the second page where a user is almost forced to engage with your brand more so. So this would kind of be a code snippet of where you can do this. It has a really great impact on click-through rates. We do this for our clients all the time, and the results are really phenomenal. You can also add this through plugins. So Schema Plus for SEO can be done through Shopify. You can get it through all of the plugins that they offer. And then for WordPress, it would just be Schema, right? So this almost makes it easier for you, and you don't need to have coding abilities to make this a reality. You do need to reach out to your customer base and actually incentivize them to like write reviews about you though. Next thing, content. So I'm a firm believer that content is king or queen, regardless of how you want to prioritize that. But again, Google is a text-based algorithm. So the more text you have, the more it can crawl, the better it can understand you, right? So blogs are also a really creative way to address different topics. At the end of the day, when we engage with content as humans, it needs to either educate us, entertain us, or inspire us, right? So each of you, when you have your own online stores, there are different angles that you can highlight. And you also saw through Alan's presentation that a lot of the concerns revolve around coronavirus. One of the best blogs that we've actually gotten a lot of traffic to was highlighting the best hiking trails for a sports brand within Hong Kong. And that drove a ridiculous amount of traffic, because people during the coronavirus period wanted to be outdoors, but they also wanted to take into consideration social distancing. So everyone's hiking now. The other blog that did really well is just like how to effectively wash your hands. I mean, come on, like I thought we learned this when we were smaller, but like the topic just becomes a lot more relevant when it comes to actually fundamentally breaking it down and keeping you safe, right? So there's a distinction between high quality and low quality content. Generally speaking, how we evaluate it is that you do need to have enough words. And I'm going to dive into this a bit deeper. You need to have engaging and informational content, because if you can actually educate me in a sense, I'm more likely to trust you as a thought leader and go with you if I make a purchase decision. Answer questions, right? So FAQ sites or sections on your website, it baffles me whenever I come across like an e-commerce website that doesn't have this, right? This is your opportunity to legitimately write every single question that people usually type into the search engine, and you can address these answers on your website. And if you do it in a distinct and short way, chances are that through semantic markup, you can actually have these answers showcased in Google and aspire to reach what every brand wants, which is position 0, which is like when you type something like what is yoga, it gives you the answer in the search results, right? It also really contributes to your branding in terms of building a positive reputation, it kind of coincides with what I just said earlier. And then of course there's the idea of EAT. So that's expertise, authority, and trust. Now that's another element that was updated in Google's MEDIC algorithm changes, which happened last year. I'm going to dive into that in a second. For low quality content, yeah, look, not writing enough content. If you do anything less than 300 words, like don't bother. Like again, you should be aiming for the sweet spot, which is anywhere between 400 to 600 words per page. And I know that a lot of us are really creative and feel really strongly about the aesthetic sides of the website, but content does really help. Right? Duplicated content. Don't copy paste product descriptions of like someone else's website, because Google will only give benefit to the originator of the content. So if you're copy pasting every single product description as a reseller, that's not going to give you any SEO value, because that content is from somewhere else originally. If you write about your money, your life content, so that's any content associated to impacting someone's health, impacting someone's financial well-being, and you do not source information or basically source where you attained information from and make it a credible source, then it's just an opinionated article. And Google did kind of do this because they don't only care about showing you the most relevant information. It also comes down to making sure that they show you the most factually accurate ones. You know, this was inspired through like the anti-vax movement. the diet fads that exist now, where like I saw something crazy, which is like the water diet and how to stay alive for like 25 days. Like I really don't recommend it. If anyone's gone through this, please share. Of course, keyword stuffing, I mentioned this earlier, that's the repetitive utilization of an individual keyword that you want to rank for. And something like grammar, spelling errors, and shitty content just make your brand not look very nice. And it kind of, you do lose a lot of credibility in that sense. Okay, so expertise, authority, trust. This really just comes down to making sure that the content that you write about, especially if it has an impact on finance or health, does have information pulled and sourced from articles that come from legitimate websites, okay? So news websites. This is not like your conspiracy blogger that's sitting in his basement saying that aliens are gonna attack us one day. Like you need to have scientific papers, reputable media agencies. All of this stuff can actually help with this. Google does take this into consideration. So when you write a blog post, don't just put author there, like put your name there so Google can crawl and actually look into what your credibility is behind the entire article. Next, so how many blogs and how long should I make them? So generally speaking, the most success that I've seen with clients is in Hong Kong specifically, are websites that write anywhere between like 4 to 7 blogs every single month. This is where we really saw traction in regards to upticks in traffic, and Google continuously crawling your website because you're continuously delivering new content which needs to be crawled and indexed. In terms of word count, the sweet spot, the longer the blog is, the more likely you're going to rank for more keywords. But there's also the idea of humans being lazy. You know, we love listicles, top 10 things, top 5 things. But if you do keep the word count high, but the article engaging enough with visuals, it does maintain attention, where it's not just an SEO benefit from a search engine perspective, but it can really provide insightful information that could be of immense value to anybody that actually goes to your website, right? So that's that. In terms of how I structure a content-based strategy, at the core, your e-commerce store represents maybe you represent a brand. And from that brand, there are a lot of subtopics that you can highlight that would be relevant to your product portfolio. So I took the idea of cooking tips here, but you can build that out into like cooking different really popular dishes. Or when it comes to shoes, like actually focusing on like different brands that you carry, or different sports that you cater to. If you have fashionable items, focus on different seasons. There's so many different ways you can actually split a content strategy and basically build subunits around it. And it amplifies the core idea that you're continuously trying to signal to Google, so you increase your likeliness of ranking for it, right? So when you're looking at the entire journey map from a content perspective, again, I think it's really important to understand that when a user first comes to your website, there are certain questions you need to address, right? You need to basically tell them like exactly what you represent, who you are as a brand, and what your brand offers. What is your selling points and your USPs? Do you have any trust elements that you can highlight? How many products have you sold? What is your average rating? What is your return policy or warranty or shipping policy? You know, all of these things give me confidence to want to get to the next stage and actually learn a little bit more about your products, educate myself. And then from then on out, I actually go into the process of engaging with you and buying something from you. If you actually provide the user with an exceptional experience, you write them an EDM where after every single purchase, you thank them for the purchase, ask them for feedback once they receive the product, actually show that you're proactive and that you genuinely care about the after effect of when someone buys your product and not just cut the customer journey there, you can actually create brand ambassadors that continuously engage with you, right? So when it comes to content in this sense, it's like the utilization of like building a community around your products. That's like the pinnacle of what you can achieve as an e-commerce store. So I know that was a lot. I hope I was able to share some value there, but this would be the end of my portion, and I thank you all for joining me this evening.
Thank you. I think we will collect some questions, but now we need to go further, and I want to invite our first girl as a speaker. We are for the diversity. Yeah, and I would like to invite the Xiu. Xiu, she's from HKBC Media, our great partner for this event, and she will tell us about the digital strategies. Xiu, are you here? Xiu?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, guys? But you don't see me, right? Yeah, good. Can you see my presentation now? Okay, good. Thank you, Dima, for awesome introduction. I'm pretty happy to be here with you today, guys, and have to say that you are awesome, and you are not only adapting for the situation and start streaming your awesome digital marketing nights in online also, and also invite you to this first edition, super guest from Google, Shopify, and other companies for pages, etc. So it's cool to be here again. My name is Xiu. I'm a marketing manager with 8 years of experience in a digital sphere. I'm specializing on Asian and European markets, and now I'm working on HKBC Media. We have a pretty international team with more than 10 years of experience and more than 500 completed projects all over the globe. We are specializing on complicated niches, on e-commerce markets, on B2B spheres, and on startups and so on. But as we are talking today about e-commerce, I will try to gather some information a lot and find out how we can build an effective marketing strategy, especially for e-commerce businesses. Here are some clients, our key clients from the Hong Kong, and let's get started. Today we're gonna cover first of all, we will learn the basics on how to build a marketing strategy, how to bring your business online. I will show you the customer journey map and how to build your strategy step by step. Then we will quickly go through the COVID impact and how the behavioral and customer patterns changed during this time. And then we will see what next, because after in new normal, we have a little bit changes in the market, and we have to adapt. And I will show you how to create more impactful and more strategy to reach your customers to stay on the top of their mind. Let's get started. If you are a marketer or if you are a business owner in the e-commerce sphere, you probably know this first step of creation your digital marketing strategy. First of all, you need to create your customer persona. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of separating people by their social demographic characteristics, because I believe that it's not giving you the full picture of what is going on and what messages you should push through them for them to become your customers, your loyal customers. But just keep it in mind for now. You need to imagine your ideal buyer persona, put yourself on their shoes, and try to go through your sales funnel. I mean, from awareness stage to consideration stage to decision, and finally to loyalty and advocacy. With the presentation, I will also share with you a template of CGM, so you can. This is a template for retail marketing, but you can easily adapt it for your business as well. It's not that complicated as it seems maybe now, but you just need to think and spend some time and think honestly about your business and stages and touch points that your customers go through in this way, in this journey, but from strangers to your competitors and for the brand advocates. On the top of the customer journey, you have this basic sales funnel. The sales funnel, of course, it depends on the niche. If you are in a B2B business, it tends to be more complicated and maybe longer, more steps in this. If you are somewhere in FMCG market and or whatever, it might be shorter. Just think of which stages your customer is going through these steps, and pick up the right channels to show your businesses in this journey. On the third stage, you need to look at the latest digital trends, because this is a quite fast here, because things are changing very fast in digital sphere, right? And a lot of blogs and articles screaming every year that video is the king, that content is the king. You need to create more content, you need to create more video. Yes, I agree with previous speakers, with Lars, that the content is really matter for SEO and for also for promoting your business, but it's hard to do. And just really realize that what sources you have. And first of all, I'd recommend you to go to Google Trends and watch what is going there, what is really matter for your audience. It is a really good tool to find out what goes around your niche, around your business, what people search in this moment. So this is a good tool. And then these things worked until the COVID. What's going on? No one expected to have it in 2012, but I think in the first week we were all shocked and don't understand what is going on. And later on, we will all go through all of the stages. I mean, denying, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. So what's going on there? Bye-bye working tools. So no one knows what to do. Shops are closed, stores are closed their doors. We are social distancing. We are frustrating, and businesses were shocked, really. But I think we are all go through digital transformation. This is a really growing trend, but coronavirus forces us to move really quickly towards it. And the impact of coronavirus, we will feel it for ages, I think, since now. Since no one knows what is digital transformation really is, everyone goes streaming. I don't know how about you guys, but my phone actually is burning out, especially in the evening hours when everyone goes live. Everyone's streaming, everyone's doing online conferences, and I don't know, thank you guys for your presence here with us today, but I think everyone pretty tired already from the online conferences. It's even, startup appeared in this period. They are gathering together all the live streams from the YouTube, from the Instagram, and you can subscribe only for nothing else, not video, not not pictures, not images, just live streams, and you can subscribe and watch like serials there. So what's about new normal? New normal is complicated, it's full of uncertainty, and I'm not really a big fan of the thought that the crisis is a great time, it's the best time to show off and start your business and grow. I think every time is good to grow, but it's just about you. It's just about how you accept the situation, how do you adapt the situation, and how you respond to this situation. From my experience, as we are working with a lot of companies from China and from European countries, there are three main types of businesses. First one, they are just closes the doors, cutting the budgets, and waiting for having a break and waiting for another opportunities when things go normal again. But I honestly don't know how far they can come back to the normal life when it's over. The second one, they are pivoting. I mean, they are trying to do some new services and offer new product that they never done before. And the third one, I think the most successful way is to try to adapt. By adaptation, I mean try to find new audiences, try to find new places for your businesses. Maybe if you are focusing on B2C businesses, try to focus on B2B. If you are a restaurant and you or food delivery, for example, your business probably booming, but you can offer try maybe another monetization model like subscription model, and offer your meals by subscription for 3 to 5 days further, I think. So is there a plan B in this situation? We've learned basic stages of how to build your marketing strategy. We've learned that the better way is to adapt to the situation, not just stop your business at all. And if there a plan B to make your strategy more comprehensive, first of all, if you remember, when I started the presentation, I mentioned that I'm not really a big fan of customer persona creation. And that's why, imagine the situation that you have. I will describe you the jobs to be done first. Jobs to be done model is not about the people, it's about the situation in which your products can be used. Literally, whatever, why your product should be hired by them to do some jobs. Which problem can you solve with your product? Imagine the situation. You have a coffee shop, and man comes to you every morning from Monday to Friday to pick up the cup of espresso and drinking while he on the way to work. The same man comes to your coffee shop with his daughter on Saturday and buy milkshake with ice cream. And if you are not using any CRM system, customer relationship system, or any loyalty program, you will never ever assume that this is the same man, absolutely, with the same age, with the same status, with the same job, with the same car, same phone, same gender, whatever. But this man put it in the two completely different situations. His behavior is completely different. That's why you need to. The better ways to divide your messages by the situations. For example, your coffee shop can be used for a business meeting, for a date, for someone to spend to work for a couple of hours in your coffee shop. So describe the situation and try to build the messages based on the situations, not just on social demographic characteristic of your audiences. It's actually the easiest way to find out the insights. The insights is inner feeling that you are or your customers not realizing from the first sight. But if you do jobs to be done, the defining your customers through this model, you will probably find the meaningful insights to build your companies. This is some boring numbers describing that the competition becomes worse and every year. Back in 2015, you have to reach your customers, possible customers, at least 5 to 7 times. And for now, it increased for 30 times. So you need at least 30, on average, 30 touch points to bring the stranger to your customer. It's huge. And the first suggestion is to work closely with the sales department. If you are a marketer, go to your sales manager, sit with him, or just pick up the phone and call your clients. And believe me, it's the fastest way to get the right insights and get the right feedback from your audiences and change your strategy, change your touch points in the right way, in a way that your competitors is waiting from you. You can make a research as well, but calling and talking with your customers is the fastest way to know. And before you jump to your customer base or your new clients to reach them, review your resources. You already have your customer base, and instead of just sending them an emails asking how they are now in this difficult time and how you can help, you can use your base in other ways. You can do remarketing, you can do lookalike audiences, and etc. I'm now collecting the checklist about the ways how you can use your customer base, and if you're interested in, just reach me out somewhere in social media or maybe by email, and I will send it to you. Look at your community. Your community, they are spending more time on social media. Social shopping and social payment is increasing. This is a growing market. This is a huge market. And if your customers are on Instagram, the better ways to create your shop there and allow them to pay for your product there. It increases your conversion rates, and it will increase amount of spontaneous purchases as well. Look for brands to collaborate. Everyone in the difficult situations, and maybe you can find the brands to which have the same base or correlated base to you to share, and maybe to do some marketing campaigns together. Key opinion leaders and user-generated content is another trend, but inside of this, if you have a chance to add user-generated content in your content strategy, then do it. Just look at, I don't know, GoPro and big brands. They are adding a lot of user-generated content in their feeds, and this is a good opportunity to save the money and save the budget and build the loyalty very fast. So if you're adding user-generated content, look up to the mentions if they are mentioning you, so react to it, and in this way you can find out the loyal customers which can become your influencers and own brand advocacies. What we're gonna look next, and customer insights. I told about that a little bit. If you remember the previous case I told you about the man in coffee shop, the insight there will be, when I come to your coffee shop in the morning, I want to wake up. If I come to your coffee shop at the weekends with my family, I want to be a good father, for example. I want to buy a cocktail to my daughter. It's not too expensive to take her to the Disneyland, but it shows her that I'm a good father. This is an insight. actually. To find the insights, this is actually a big theme. We need another 1 hour to for me to explain you what is customer insights and how to identify them. I will show you the short video that we created to the Digital Marketing Summit. It based on very simple insights that are actually laying on the top, but I just want to show you this video, and I will show you the statistics, of the promotional statistics. So prepare, it can be a little bit loud. Sorry guys, if it was too loud, I'm sorry. So now I will show you the statistic. I hope you can see it, but if no, you will have a presentation. As you can see there, the creative video brings us 160 leads, registrations for $5 Hong Kong dollars, despite on other banners, just static banners, which brings us less registration on 5 times more expensive price. So this video takes about an hour to create. A little research, a short scenario, and custom created video saves us a lot of advertising dollars. So think about it and add some creativity into your strategy. Don't be afraid that it is not perfect. It's not it doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. Another cases from big companies and influencers that you can learn for just search for creative ideas for your brand and find out the ways you can integrate it into your content strategy. And another trend is, like it or not, but these teens who are now in TikTok, who are dancing, who are making challenges, they are your new customers. And like it or not, you have to communicate with them. You have to allocate the budget to reach them, and you have to support them by doing these challenges and participating in the crazy things. So that's quite it from me. So learn the basics, adapt to the situation, and add some creativity into your strategy, and you will win the market. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. If you have any questions, I will be here, or you can join the workshops where you can ask your questions. Feel free to contact with me via social media or via email address. In Hong Kong, we are offering companies also government support, digital with government support. So if you're interested to getting funds to bring your business online, you can contact with me, and I will explain you what does it mean. And also we'll be happy to create a digital marketing strategy for you. Just fill in the form, and see you next time. Stay safe.
Cool, very cool. That video was very cute, but too loud.
Sorry.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you so much for your time. And we are going ahead, I think. Yeah, so we will ask your questions a little bit later during the workshops, okay?
Sure.
So so all the attenders, I just remind you to push to click that links below the video on the YouTube, so you can get free reputation management audit, sale audit, and digital strategy. Yeah, and now I think we can. I totally understand that a lot of you tired because the content is huge and the speakers are amazing today. Yeah, with the brilliant material. But I want to invite to the stage our another brilliant is Frankie from the Shopify. Yeah. So Frankie, are you here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
He is the Hong Kong lead, and he wants to tell us about the DTC revolution. Frankie?
You guys hear me all right? Yes? No?
Yeah,
Yes?
great to have you here.
Great.
I hope. Take your time. The stage is yours.
Take my time. Take my time. If I could just get the slides up in the meantime, I'll try and be on time, maybe even a little bit faster. I know a lot of people are probably have an evening to get on to, kids to take care of, businesses to run. And while I wait for the slides to get ready, let me introduce myself. My name is Frankie Ng. I'm the Hong Kong lead for Shopify, and I also look after Taiwan. So my type of work is working on all sorts of business development, partnerships, platform enhancements to our product. For those that don't know, Shopify is an e-commerce platform that allows anybody to set up an online store, no matter how technical or not technical you are. We power some of the most amazing brands in the world, now at 1 million brands powered on Shopify worldwide now. So Dima, I'm just checking on my slides real quick. Let's see. Alrighty. Well, in the meantime, while I get those slides ready, a quick note about my presentation, the D2C revolution, DTC. So what does that mean? So DTC is direct to consumer, and these are brands that are going and they manufacture the product, brand the product, market the product, and end up selling the product directly to the end consumer. So this is what my presentation is going to be on. I'm just waiting for those to show up, so I will just kind of keep going along until those slides go up. But what am I going to talk about today? Three things. 3 topics. So number 1, D2C today. So what are D2C brands? What's going on in the retail environment that's actually helping them get launched? And the next thing is a quick spiel about the Shopify platform, what we do for those that don't know. And then the last part, I'll be ending on the winning trends, on why consumers buy D2C, what are some of the key influencers to making that purchase, what type of brands are winning. So I hope that at the end of this presentation, you have some actionable insight on what you can possibly do running a D2C brand, or be inspired to actually launch one yourself if you're not doing that already. So let me just give this a shot, because I think Dima, I don't see the slides up unless other people do. Technology might not be our friend today, but let's see. Can you guys see the slides?
Yeah.
Okay, if not, I'm going to give this a shot and just upload my slides. Bear with us for a couple seconds. All right, I'm going to give this a shot. All right, so one other definition to direct-to-consumer brands that I want to highlight is oftentimes we're all very familiar with the marketplaces that are in the space, Amazon, Tmall, Taobao, etc. And direct-to-consumer brands have something different about them. So if you are selling on Amazon, you actually don't own the consumer, and there's actually very limited amount of customization that you can do on the website, because ultimately you're really just renting that box from Amazon. They tell you where the order goes, they tell you who to fulfill to, and in the end, you make the transaction, ship the product, collect the money, and Amazon takes their 10 to 20%, and you don't end up walking away with much. You just walk away with a processed order. So Here's the D2C slides. Perfect. All right, so this is working now. So we talked a little bit about the definition. So I'm going to flash back into 150 years ago when we looked at a little bit of a history lesson on what retail looked like. So back in the late 1800s, we saw the rise of the first department stores, and it was founded by a guy named John Wanamaker, one of the early retail pioneers in Philadelphia. And this concept of a department store was bringing together independent brands so that they could sell their goods through a third-party intermediary. Now we see this today. We see it in grocery stores. We see it in shopping malls. And what that means is that really these brands are using this as a channel to get to their end consumer. And overall, it's quite effective. We saw the rise of this in the next 125 years into the 2000s in malls, strip malls, even multi-brand retailers like, let's say, Lane Crawford, Harry Rosen, Macy's, that are bringing together brands. And what those brands benefit from is that there's a ton of organic traffic that goes to those places. So us in Hong Kong, we are no stranger to the shopping mall, which is kind of like this third place outside of the house that you end up hanging out at. Besides home and work, you're maybe at the mall or you're out shopping. So 25 years ago, we'll fast forward to just 25 years ago. It's early 1990s. You start to see the rise of the internet, how that influences online brands. And this was actually a time when the internet wasn't enabling anybody other than the large brands. So they created websites that allowed them to kind of continue pushing their business, but it kept the strong people strong, and the smaller businesses would never really have a chance to launch a website just based on complexity. And so you can see in the top left corner, Amazon Books, what a beautiful website. Pizza Hut on the top right, Walmart on the bottom left or bottom right. So you see that internet was not a very beautiful kind of unique place. These all kind of look the same, just poor landing pages. And then we fast forward maybe 10 years later into the early 2000s when we started to see the rise of unique independent websites where platforms started to come in and different open source software was available. So you got like the Magento, the WordPress, the Shopifys of the world that start up, and you start to see a little bit more of a unique branding experience there. So what was happening during this time is that e-commerce software became much more scalable and approachable for a lot of smaller brands, just as it is today. And it's right now not there's no better time to actually launch a brand, because technology has just been this great equalizer for people to do all sorts of things, have all sorts of tools that would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars 20 years ago. So you as an independent person can actually launch a successful brand that competes with some of the largest players out there. And we'll talk a little bit about examples of where that is happening. So right now, you've got these two opposing forces in e-commerce. One side, the marketplaces, which will always have a place. They are your trusted source for a wide selection of product, fairly price competitive, and you really know what you're getting. You know what you're getting in terms of the service level, delivery times, shopping experience, whether good or bad. If you're very immersive, then it might not be the place for you. But if you're looking for something quick that gets the job done, then marketplaces do exactly that. So they're less capital intensive. There's a low barrier to list, but ultimately you do end up renting the customer. You don't own the customer and that customer relationship. On the other side, we have these direct-to-consumer brands. We'll talk about brands like Allbirds, MVMT or Movement Watches, brands like Nike, who have their own website and very outwardly already announced that they're not going to be selling any of their products through Amazon, just because they want to own that experience, and they don't believe that a third party should be taking the cut of their revenue and kind of dictating how that experience is for the customer. So we know e-commerce is going to double to close to 4 trillion by the end of 2020. And a lot of that's been accelerated by this whole COVID situation. We already saw in the US that e-commerce as a percentage of retail sales jumped up from something like 17% to about 26.5%, which is pretty unheard of, and the highest level of growth that we've seen in the US so far. And even in China, we're already seeing that close to 25 to 30%. So just to move on, we know that direct brands are going to ultimately surpass some of these indirect brands that have dominated the market for 140 years. So I come from a background where I actually work for one of these indirect brands, so Procter & Gamble. And Procter & Gamble themselves, you're not going to have a relationship with Procter & Gamble. People are not going to be too familiar on the everyday what Procter & Gamble sells, but they're familiar with the brands like Tide or Bounty or Crest toothpaste, Oral-B. So you're familiar with that, but that almost experience is taken over by whomever you buy that from, whether that's Walmart or City Super, Welcome. They don't own that relationship. So even you're seeing larger brands like Procter & Gamble make that move into direct-to-consumer. So we're even powering them. We're powering Nestle. We're powering Unilever. We're all doing these direct-to-consumer experiments because it's just been so cost-effective, and they can get a lot more data out of that experience. So now into some of these amazing examples. You've got this brand called Harry's Razors. If you haven't heard of them, Harry's was a direct-to-consumer or is a direct-to-consumer razor brand that would rival brands like Gillette or Schick, and people would buy razors from them, less markup than the competition. They get a subscription, get them on a monthly basis with things like shaving cream and aftershave. So ultimately, they posed a pretty big threat to Gillette and Schick. And in late 2017, they were actually acquired by Schick, or the parent company for Schick, which is called Edgewell. They're acquired for $1.4 billion, a company that's no more than 5 years old, and quite a significant valuation for a physical goods company. So you're starting to see, okay, people are taking notice. Actually, there's quite a supply chain consolidation that can happen here to reach direct to consumer and still make some margin. The other brand that we'll talk about is Allbirds. So they have found by two founders in New Zealand who were after a comfortable, almost brandless shoe that was sustainable and eco-friendly. So they designed this out of merino wool. They've come to rival some of the biggest brands and are a staple in Silicon Valley for a lot of startup people. I also own a pair. A lot of people on Shopify own a pair. It's a very common shoe. And recently they were valued at $1.4 billion. Again, something very crazy for a brand that's only 5 years in. And just recently, I think a couple weeks ago, they announced their initiative to work with Adidas to create a zero carbon footprint shoe. So when you're seeing these type of new brands, they're also really challenging the norm. They're challenging what traditional corporate brands might not be agile or might not have as much risk tolerance to take on. Lastly, two contrasting brands. One is CoverGirl, founded in 1961, employs hundreds of people, and then also has probably annual revenue in maybe the hundreds of millions, 100, 200 million. Also one of the brands that used to be owned by P&G before it was sold off. On the right side, you'll see a brand, Kylie Cosmetics, founded by Kylie Jenner of the Kardashian family, founded in 2016. And just in 3 years' time, she's been able to scale this to about a $300 million in revenue business. Those are public numbers, so I'm not kind of putting everything out there for that. That's kind of not known, but it's very public that Kylie has a significant amount of traction with this cosmetics brand, and she has done so with only 9 people, which is absolutely insane. Could you imagine running a $300 million business with 9 full-time people? Now, of course, she has partners that do the fulfilling. She has partners that do the marketing side. She trusts in a platform like Shopify to do the technology. So all these, just to say that technology can be a really great equalizer for commerce today. So the great, moral of the story for both these brands, actually, they both ended up using Shopify. So CoverGirl ended up using Shopify because it's very scalable and they wanted to build that channel for themselves. And Kylie started with us and continues to be a really strong brand today. So what is the Shopify platform? This one I'm not going to talk too much about. What's great is it's a pretty easy concept to understand. So we are the technology, consider it the commerce operating system for people to set up online websites, mainly the .com, .ca, .au websites, the standalone websites. The challenge with standalone websites, though, is that, it's a little bit different from marketplaces in that you basically own and dictate your own fate, in that you're not going to necessarily have organic traffic in the way that you have Amazon. But what that means is you have full control to tailor that marketing strategy and build. You have the opportunity to work on things like SEO and content, just like our partners at Google and First Page and HKBC had already spoken about. So you have a lot of flexibility to do that, and you can manage everything on the front end, that whole shopping experience, how the product catalogs look, how the website looks, what videos have on it, through to actually converting the customer at the checkout, the different payment methods that you want, what shipping options you want. So why we call ourselves the commerce operating system as opposed to the heart and soul of the online website is that we allow our merchants to push and pull different data from within Shopify into other channels where consumer buying intent exists. That could be places like Facebook, Amazon, eBay. And we have a Google Shopping feed integration. We recently announced our Facebook Shops collaboration. And all of this to say, we don't want people having to spread out all their efforts across all multiple channels and trying to consolidate everything at some point. We want to sit right at the heart of everything and make that easy for our merchants. So some of the things that people don't know about Shopify beyond what we do on the online website, we have things like a Shopify POS, which is the offline store that's already integrated into our cloud technology. So you can bring an iPad around, you can walk around the street and take orders, or you can do that at a brick and mortar site, not to exaggerate things too much. You can also integrate Shopify into mobile apps like iOS and Android and add commerce functionality into something that wouldn't traditionally have commerce functionality, like mobile games, which we're seeing in things like Clash of Clans or any property owned by Supercell. Then we do all the back office stuff, the boring stuff, orders, customers, reporting, analytics. But the cool part of our business is our app ecosystem, allowing people to add on a variety of different apps and tools to enhance their stores. Similar to how people have an Apple iPhone, you're going to have your iPhone, and then you're going to add all the awesome apps that make it your iPhone. So that's how we do it for the Shopify App Store. Some are free, some are paid, but the great thing is you don't have to be a technical person. You just add it on and then it's ready to go. So a couple other things I'll touch on. A really cool part of our business is the innovation. We're doing things with 3D, AR, VR, allowing people to set up 3D models and experience that through the AR kit within the iOS platform. We're allowing people to shoot 3D video. We're allowing people to also get instant funding. So we also run a side of our business called Shopify Capital, where we're sending out small business loans to all sorts of businesses that have shown success on the platform. And why we can do that faster than any other bank is because we see all their sales data. We don't need anything proven to us. We're seeing all those transactions happen with us. So we can issue loans anywhere from 10,000 USD to 250,000 USD. So it's a very exciting part of the business. And our whole objective is let's make independent business, let's make entrepreneurs successful on this platform. Let's be that equalizer for them to take on the rest of the competition and kind of change this retail landscape. The other part I'll touch on is our partner ecosystem. So we talked a little bit about apps, but beyond apps, there's agencies and web designers that build for our platform. We have roughly over 16,000 agencies that are working with us to provide different services. Could be digital marketing services, could be web design services, app builds, integrations, even full-on store operations. So that's a really exciting part of where Shopify becomes more of an ecosystem, and we're not just a technology product. We're an ecosystem where you use our technology, but it connects you into this network of other very capable software partners and service partners that can help you achieve what you want to do, what you want to do with your online business. All right, so our value props. All right, we'll just go quickly through this. Hey, you can get set up with a Shopify store in pretty much one day, get that launch up and running, scale that from anywhere from $0, and we have brands doing over $500 million on our platform, and they do all of that within the same Shopify system, not having to worry about security or bandwidth or usage or scalability. The next thing is we give you full customization on the front end to design whatever shopping experience that you want. That's why we're trusted by some of those big Fortune 500 brands, but also very creative digital first brands like Brooklinen or Bailey Nelson. Lastly, you don't have to worry about the security, stability. We take care of that at an infrastructure level. So we make sure that everybody benefits from having this awesome infrastructure that works for our 1 million merchants worldwide. So who are the brands using us? I already touched on them, some big brands, GE, Nestle. You've always got the fast growing brands like Kylie, Purple, Chubbies. And then you've got these brands that you start to wonder, oh, I didn't know they do e-commerce. Brands like Budweiser, the New York Times, Harry Potter, Red Bull, etc. So it's a very exciting business that allows us to be really flexible. Just to quickly go over the winning trends of the top brands. I know timing-wise, I want to keep this pretty tight, so I'll just blaze through these. So we talked about technology. So we're seeing people use platforms like Shopify to do the e-commerce, but you're also seeing this network of really exciting products in Upwork or in Fiverr that are giving you access to talent all around the world for a fairly low cost to do some of this project-based stuff. So you don't have to know everything right out of the box. You can hire people on a commission or work basis to actually take on some of those design or tedious tasks. You got crowdfunding campaigns like Kickstarter or Indiegogo are allowing people to get money and fund really cool, exciting products before they're into production. Of course, there's a little bit of lead time there, but it's a very like a less capital intensive venture because you're able to raise that capital through crowdfunding. The thirst for niche is something that we're seeing a lot. So it's not setting up an online store nowadays is not just about setting something up and selling mass product. I think the people that do it best are definitely those that focus on a niche. So an example I use here is Hypebeast. So Hypebeast is, of course, a lifestyle streetwear brand, ton of amazing content. And what they do is they don't try and convert on the hypebeast.com, but instead they have a separate business called HBX, which is their retailing arm that blends content and commerce. And that's a combination that we see a lot, content and commerce. Like Lars said, content is king, but what you want to happen after that content is if you're an e-commerce company, you want to see a conversion. So blending those two allows you to really, what you want to do by blending those two is actually speak to a specific niche. So what the Hypebeast audience does is it speaks to that streetwear lifestyle niche. There are other brands that speak to a punk or a gothic niche. There are those that speak to the hyper fit like Gymshark, and then other ones that are about the hyper healthy. So finding your niche and finding your voice as a brand allows you to ease into that conversion funnel and also makes things a lot easier for you on the marketing side to get to targeting or what kind of keywords you want to choose. So I'd suggest anybody that's going through a general, taking too much of a general approach, really hone in on what your niche is, who your buyer is. And if you can make that as specific as possible, you can start off with the specific, get some traction, and then start to broaden that out a little bit more, and then find other subsegments within that niche. Social media, I'm not going to talk too much about. Personalization is one that's really exciting for me. Because of technology, personalization has become easier and easier. I know us buying clothes off the rack, sometimes that's a supply chain thing. So for H&M or Zara, they're going to bring in clothes that are small, medium, large instead of numbered, 36, 38, 40, etc. Because sizing wise, there's only certain thresholds that they can hit before it starts to be a less profitable business for them, and there's inventory waste or inventory clearance required. So personalization with technology is very exciting because it allows people to manufacture product on the go or just in time, I should say. So a brand here that manufactures amazing shirts is called Son of a Tailor. What they do is, I'm a customer of them myself. Send the measurement. I don't even send too much measurements. I just send them my weight and I send them my chest size, and then it uses the algorithm to measure out the rest of the body. And why I really like them is they don't create a lot of waste, and everything that they're making is made to order. But on top of that, they're able to add a sense of personalization in the actual delivery of the product. And where I saw that was in a handwritten note that says, this shirt was made by the person that the seamstress of whomever had made this, and it was made for me, Frankie. And something like that adds to the customer experience. The personalization itself adds to a customer experience, because now I've got a great story about a brand and buying experience that meant a lot to me. And what's cooler than having something just made for you, So personalization, very, very cool. Affordability, we saw how the supply chain shortened. So what that allows people to do is remove that middleman that was taking a 15 to 30% margin and pass those savings on to the customer. You'll see that in a lot of examples like Warby Parker. I also recently bought retainers from a brand called Smile Direct Club. It's really an amazing experience because it was about 1/2 the cost of traditional braces or traditional retainers. But what I did was go into the shop. They did a 3D scan of my teeth, and that 3D scan they modeled to straighten out the teeth. And I got a tray of, let's say, 14 different retainers that I just wear every week until the teeth straighten. And so that's that component of personalization, because you can now do that in mass, but also affordability, because there's no more complexities of paying extra staff or extra orthodontists to actually certify every single brace or adjust it on every appointment if I go back. So I wore braces before as well, but retainers are great too. The last thing I'll talk about is brand sustainability. This is something that's super hot because of climate change, because of waste, because of unethical business practices in certain parts of the world. And most recently, we're seeing how COVID has impacted some brands' responses to how they want to serve their customer, how they want to price their product, extra tipping, extra charitable donations. So consumers now, it's not just about selling a product. I think that's definitely half the story, but the other half is that resonance with the brand and the meaningfulness of that purchase. So a friend of mine running the Nano Leaf product, which are customized lighting, they ran a campaign to help get face masks to the front lines. So that's that brand story there. But if we're looking at brand sustainability, there are brands out there that are choosing are choosing ethical manufacturing, or they're choosing low waste approach to producing their product. So that goes a long way. And sustainability just going, I would say, if I were to pick a super hot trend, sustainability is number 1 or 2 for e-commerce. So that's where I'm at. I had a couple case studies, but I want to keep it super tight. My closing remarks for today, I hope you guys all realize how technology is making it more democratic for people to set up online businesses and achieve success. It really puts the people, general everyday people, in the driver's seat to disrupt their industry. Even if it's an idea, just take your time at it, give it a shot. E-commerce is not as difficult as it used to be. The cost of going cross-border with direct-to-consumer is also lowering. I know right now it's a little bit of an exception because global supply chains, global shipment is a little bit slowed down, but going cross-border outside of Hong Kong to other regions is becoming a lower and lower cost endeavor. Global buyers are also wanting to experience something unique. So if you're launching a brand, try and find your value proposition, be really clear on your messaging, and pass that on through your marketing and your content as well. And then lastly, if you happen to be interested in trying e-commerce, Shopify leads the market globally. So again, 1 million merchants worldwide in 175 countries. If you guys have any questions, you can find me on LinkedIn. And then for everybody that is watching right now, if you want to take a couple seconds, you can scan this QR code for a 14-day free trial. And if that 14-day free trial isn't long enough, you can start another free trial. So it's a fairly low-cost approach. And I hope that whether you choose Shopify or not, you have an awesome time trying to set up your online business and scale that to great success. So thanks, everyone, for attending my section of the Digital Marketing Night. And I'll pass it back to our wonderful host, Dima.
Yeah, thank you, Frankie. That was very cute, really. So such a lot of information in a very short period of time. You are one of the best, really. Thank you so much for attending DM Night. And my question for you is, are you going to join us the next one?
Oh, if I'm welcome again, certainly.
Great,
I don't get invited to a lot of parties more than once. Usually one time they have me, they say, maybe we don't invite this guy again. But I'm glad you invite me again. Thank you.
Are you joking? Okay.
I'm joking.
Great. So I think that many of our attendees are already tired and they want to have some little pause between our workshop starts. So thank you, Frankie, for your amazing speech. I suggest all to go to have a little bit rest, prepare some tea or maybe wine, and follow up for the next workshops. Yeah, they will start very soon. I think in 10 minutes. The active links are in chat. You can find the active links below. Also, please fill in the forms below the video for ORM, SEO, and so on. And I'm very happy that we're taking a little pause and going to stage 2 to the workshop. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Ellen, Lars. Guys, you were amazing today. Thank you so much. See you in the workshops.